age is just a mystery. I've been 27 since 33. You can say I'm an old soul. I've been 27 since 33, and I still need rock and roll. Robert went down to see the devil, said you wanna go down too. I said, Robbie, that seems a little bit heavy for me, but you do you. 3 weeks later, I was there by his side. He said, hey, Ron, you wanna go for a ride? I said, look, Robbie, I just wanna make it through. 27 since 33. Seen it all, but not all seen me. I've been 27 since 33. Someday I'll get that vasectomy. I've been 27 since 33. All my brain is nature's soul. Been 27 since 33, and I'm never growing old. Robert said, hey devil, wanna be the best that there'll ever be. The devil said, look fool, I can do that for you, but you gotta do something for me. You'll be the best there'll ever be, but at 27 you'll die. And your friend over there with the long red hair, he'll be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever. He'll be the same age forever that he is tonight. 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33. I've been 27 since 33.
begin. Hello, Solid Chatterday. Is that what it is, Ron? We got Solid Chatterday happening.
Brownie stoked.
Yes, it's he's been waiting for his own segment, and thanks to Carmen Santiago. Am I saying that right? All right, Carmen, look at this. Welcome to the first half. It's gonna be like 5 minutes until Jimmy is in the room. This is the Brownie Doggo Show. That's me. This is from Carmen Santiago. And the next thing, here we go. It's going to continue. Let's see. Whoa, look at that, folks. When you tune into my live show, you get, and now you get Ron, Les Mis, my mom. You get Jimmy. We've got live stream of my cuteness plus humans do some stuff. It's so funny. And I don't understand human money very well. I just know that your patronage turns into fine doggo dining. Okay. And then it goes on a little secret. Jimmy acts like he's the boss, but really, I'm managing all the special guests behind the scenes. It's true. Wait, are you calling for me or my dog? Yep. So that's why you should tell all your friends to come watch the Brownie Doggo Show live on Saturdays. Okay, so look, we were talking, and this whole thing, we're running a business that we never expected to run. We never thought that we'd be working with, a tech god like Arno, or work with a great comedian like
certified tech god.
A certified tech god, no less. And then we work with a certified professor, comedian extraordinaire, Ron Placone. And so we're all trying to get our heads on straight about Patreon and to make sure that we're showing our appreciation. So look at this. Whoa. We've got thank you to our patrons. I think right now, Arno, do I have betting music underneath? I think the betting music is a nice touch. Some of you are like, this song, it's a commercial. Listen, come on. We're very bare bones. Here we go. Thank you, Ramon and Joseph and Scott and Terrence and Stephen and Gina. A black girl, thank you. I love that that's your handle. Samuel, Atir, Adam, Sharon, Sean, Eugene, Brett, Kate, John, Matthew. And you know what? Ron, do you have any questions from our patrons?
Yeah, we got some cool patron questions here.
Throwing it back to Ron.
That we're gonna get into. And speaking of fun screen names, or whatever you would call an account name, this is from Commode Commander.
Yes, okay, Commode.
I love that. And this one's for you. So this is a good question to start with. For the miserable liberal, all right, it's a mouthful. A section of article from Consortium News. The chairman at the University of California is CEO of 2 private equity firms and the husband of Senator Dianne Feinstein. His pet project was to have the monies of the California Teachers Pension Fund placed in the custody of private financial houses. 2 former directors of the fund currently are under criminal investigation for taking very large kickbacks from other private equity firms to whom they directed monies and which later employed them as placers. That's plutocracy at work.
I have to say, Commode, I just want to say that I think we've done a lot of research about Dianne Feinstein and how wealthy she and her husband have become since in office. I mean, what a way to go, right? You're elected as an official, and then you're able to pass legislation, or you're able to provide contracts that just so happen to go to your husband. What a sweet, sweet deal. And what do we find out? That the whole idea that you're saying it goes into CalPERS and that they're going to profit off of. Can you handle it? I certainly can't handle it. So I don't think, Commode, it was a question as much as it was a revelation and a sorry state of affairs that you're asking, but thank you very much. Let me read another list, and then we'll go back to another question from our patrons. I want to thank our amigos, Joan, Miriam, Brian, David, Andy, Thomas, Mary, Zim, I love that, Edwin, Kim, Megan, Nicholas, Sandra, Boris, Zachary, Skinner, and Michiko. Thank you, Michiko. And I also special thanks to Pedro. You know who I'm talking about. All right, back to Ron.
I voted for you, Pedro. Some more, and also I want to quick plug. I got some tour dates coming up. November 2nd,
yes.
I'll be in Sacramento. November 3rd, San Francisco. November 10th, this is just announced. I'm going to be in Austin, Texas, November 10th, That's for a special event with East, the art walk there. So grab some tickets. November 23rd, I'll be in Pittsburgh. And January 11th, this is also just announced, January 11th, Orlando, Florida. Got a Florida run coming up in January with Graham Elwood. RonPagone.com for all those tickets. Now, here's a fun question for everybody. This is from David. I'm a huge fan, and I know there are more like me out there. Have you thought about having an intern program for writers, researchers, and the like? Maybe the way Huffington Post did by submission. There are so many issues I would love to see you cover. So I can say we've been contacted about internships before. Right now, kind of mechanically and logistically, it's not an easy thing for us to provide. But it's certainly not something we're opposed to. It's just a matter of figuring out how we could foster something like that. I think at the moment. What do you think, Steph?
Ron, who doesn't like somebody who's going to work for free? I mean, right. That's where I'm standing on this issue right now. And like to ask somebody, yes, by the way, I saw so many people saying how much they love the little dog down below. The Brownie is sleeping through his own segment. Yes, of course we would. But, I'll tell you right now, you see how we do the show. Jimmy grabs, he develops an article. He decides he's reading all the time. 24/7, Jimmy is working, pretty much. If he's not developing content for the show, he's editing the content or reviewing the content and then trying to decide how he wants to fit that storyline with other concepts or other points of views from other sources. So you always see that we have sources and, maybe practice at home. Here we go. We're going to go back to some more patrons. This is my sweet, sweet Mary Jane patrons. This is David, Sandy the cat. Thank you, Sandy. Oh, I got Commode Commander. Look at you, Commode. Adam, Roland, El Vagabundo. Happy Donut Farts. I remember you from last week. Craig, Stefan, Joey, Jasmine, MC, David, Anthony, Ricky, Joseph, Callum. Back to you, Ron.
So here's a fun one that I don't know if we're gonna have a great answer for this, but this is El Vagabundo. Please explain how YouTube, etc., actually carry out the monetization process. Do you, and they say by you, we mean the entire show, get paid in actual money, or is it some either cryptocurrency or something like credit? Do you get paid based on number of subscribers, number of views of a particular posting, number of shares, likes? Do you get paid for each viewing, or only once? During the demonetization process, what was taken away? Was it taken away completely, or did you lose a percentage? Did all posters face demonetization to an equal extent? I singled out YouTube, but this is happening across several platforms. I know this is a lot of questions, but it might help many people, or just me, understand the situation. Thanks. So, a lot of stuff in there. As far as how monetization specifically works, I don't think anybody does or has ever known a complete sound system. There's little tidbits that get published in a lot of the new media blogs like Tube Filter and New Media Rockstars that can give you hints like, hey, they're focusing on watch time. At one point, it was all based on views, for instance, like views was how monetization was determined. Then YouTube tweaked that algorithm a little bit, and it became a little more heavily focused on watch time. As far as where it's at now, it's kind of like all over the board. To my knowledge, at least. And but as far as how that's actually determined, I don't think anyone really knows, except the people that are making those decisions directly at YouTube. As far as adpocalypse, which is what it's become known as, adpocalypse, when all the demonetization happened. Basically, what happened then, and some of you guys were with us when we were going through it. We woke up one day, and a lot of content creators woke up that same day, and they noticed that you're used to a certain amount of revenue coming in on your channel, and we noticed that about 50% or more of it was gone. So that's the situation there. We woke up to that one day. So I know that that's not like completely all detail, but that's the extent of the detail that I know.
All right, Arno, here we go. I have Frederick, a special thank you. So we're trying to name the patrons. Jimmy just called me. He wanted to know where I was. He could only see Ron on camera right now. I'm on camera right now, Jimmy. And we're thanking some of our sweet, sweet Mary Jane patrons: Cedric, Ethan, Kurt, Robert, Justin, Mather, Tommy, Mariki, Richard, Lori, Thomas, Muhammad, Joe, Michael, Stephen, Mike, Jim, and Jeff. Let's see, okay. And now we're back to you. Do you have any questions?
This one is a fun tidbit that is new information to me. Forrest wants us to know, did you know that News Corp literally owns the rights via a subsidiary of a subsidiary to a version of the Bible? It's called the Amplified Bible and has a bunch of editorial insertions in parentheses. This is my first time hearing about that, Forrest. That's really interesting information. I have read the Bible cover to cover before, because YOLO, but I'm pretty sure I read the acoustic one. I don't know. I'm pretty sure. This Amplified one is news to me. I don't know, but thanks for sharing that. That's some fun info.
All right. Oh, I see we have some super chat questions coming in. We have 3,275 people that are tuning in right now. Jimmy and Dore, what time do we have on the clock? What?
It's 2:11.
2:11. Jimmy was supposed to be here 4 minutes ago, so he will be here momentarily. Let's go ahead and throw back to Ron, and because I've covered some of our patrons, every week we're going to try to say hello. Oh, wait a minute. I know what I want to do before I take off. Okay. So first off, whoa, my brownie just almost fell off. Okay. We get, our fans send us some really nice stuff. We get, here we go. I gotta go back to my play. They send us some nice stuff, and we got something from Tim Black, one of our friends, and Tim Black sent us a Tim Black button, and we also have a candle that looks like, is it cornbread with butter? What do you think?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm going to be having some of that later. We got that from, also, Hope Diane, you're feeling better. She sent us the shirt, Freedom for Immigrants, that I'm wearing today. We also got this DVD, and this is from Mark from Aberdeen, and it is about...
Aberdeen, Washington.
No.
Oh, okay.
Aberdeen, Scotland.
Oh, okay.
One of our fans from Aberdeen, Scotland, and thanks so much for this video. We will go ahead and review it and enjoy it, because I thought something that you said, that you hope the information in these DVDs would help us become more informed on these subjects and how they are interconnected. So I really appreciate that. We got these stickers. These are from Marcus Kahn from Brooklyn. Hilarious sticker. I like the design. Nice work. We also got, what did I get? Okay. And, you know what? We didn't cover it yet, but we are going to be covering it. And I know tomorrow is the last day, supposedly, of the National Prisoner Strike. So some of you sent us some information regarding what their demands are. And they're very, they're just talking about being treated humanely and stop exploiting prison labor. So, what we do to other people is a matter of time before they start doing it to us, right? So, let's throw it back to Ron. Give some questions from our Patreons that we can cover, and I'm going to move over there.
Here's a super chat one that I think is a fun one to start with. This is from Courtney. Who wrote the op-ed? Hillary, Mike Pence? Seriously, though, do you think we will find out? Is this some kind of a slow coup happening? I have my top three, and my top three has not changed. My top three is still, as far as who I think wrote the op-ed, Andy Kaufman. I think it was a good chance it was Andy Kaufman. Jim Morrison. There's a chance he might still be out there, might have found his way into the Trump administration. And my third guess, Tupac's hologram. Those are my top three guesses. I'm sticking to them. Tupac was a very progressive guy. His hologram, a little more right-wing, so I think it totally could have been Tupac's hologram. I don't know if we're going to find out or not. I don't know. Steph, what are your guesses?
Okay, so I have a total point of view on this. Jimmy and I were driving around, I guess it was Thursday night, and they have a podcast on the NPR, and the podcast is produced, it was a New York Times op-ed piece. So the podcast is produced by the New York Times, and they were being asked the question about that very question. Yeah. Can you tell us who did it? And the editor, so I guess it's the editor who chose this op-ed piece, right? The editor-in-chief.
Sure.
I don't know his name, but he was talking about it and how there are about 4 people who are involved with the New York Times that definitely know who the writer is of it. And you know what I think? I didn't understand. So, am I supposed to like this anonymous writer? Am I supposed to be like, oh, wow, good to know that you're really sticking up for us at the same time that you're trying to undermine the administration? You think I'm a fan of this administration? But if this is appropriate conduct from people that are in the administration that are undermining what they're doing, I'm confused. So let's say it's Hillary Clinton in office. Would we be thrilled that somebody in her immediate administration was undermining her? But the other thing is, I saw this old movie, and I think the title of it is John Doe, and it's with Gary Cooper and Barbara Stanwyck. And the concept is Barbara Stanwyck gets fired at the very beginning of the film, and she works at a newspaper that has just been bought by somebody else. And she says, please don't fire me, please don't fire me. And what she does, okay, she has an idea. She leaves the office. She types a John Doe saying that a John Doe who represents the American experience, that he wants something better for his government, okay? In short, like that, right? But it's anonymous. And somebody on staff of the newspaper wrote it and is stirring up subscriptions to the very newspaper. I believe it's John Doe. I'll look at it later. But how can you write an opinion piece, Ron? How can you write an opinion piece and then be anonymous because you want to keep doing your work undermining the administration at the White House? Why do we think this guy's agenda or this woman's agenda isn't nefarious? You know?
Well, I think they're hoping, if we do find out their identity, I think they're hoping for a book deal. And there was hardly anything in there that was all that insightful. It was just more of the same, like, hey, the rest of the Republicans aren't so terrible, but Trump's really mean. That was pretty much the summary of that entire op-ed. And you know what? All of Trump's policies are just Republican policies. They're repulsive. Yeah, but they're Republican policies. Trump just doesn't have any subtlety. That's the only difference. So,
and turns out the Democrats are gutless and are doing nothing to fight these policies. Well, I guess Nancy Pelosi is doing PAYGO.
Yeah.
Which will help what? Who? How?
Yeah.
Right? That's not going to help anybody. So, I'm going back to the whole idea. I think it's an awful decision that the New York Times did to publish an anonymous op-ed about this administration, and I think they've done it 4 times before. I think that's what I heard on it. And so, I'm going to look for the name of that particular podcast that they aired on Thursday night. I think it was like between 8 and 9 o'clock. And just to hear the New York Times editor-in-chief justifying the decision to post something like this anonymously. You know what? I don't think the person who wrote that piece, if it is legitimately somebody in the administration, I think they lack details. And I didn't.
They couldn't name one policy.
It was cryptic, and it's cryptic on purpose. So you, the reader, can go, they're probably on my side. They're probably
right. Yeah, there was nothing specific about. They're just like, he's not gentlemanly. Like, there was nothing specific, policy-wise, how he was any different. And they pretty much said, like, they were a Republican. They acknowledged that. So they couldn't name one policy where they're different from him, because there isn't one. And, I know that there's been some stuff published, like, saying that this was a legitimate thing, but I wouldn't be shocked if maybe it wasn't as legitimate as they think it is, too, because the corporate media so many times has published first and asked later to a very, very negligent degree. So I think this thing's kind of being overhyped on many levels and for many reasons. But, let's see. Maybe we'll find out who did it.
Well, we all remember how the New York Times got the war in Iraq. They got it right. What kind of sourcing? Anyway, so, hey, how about the Supreme Court hearings nominees this week?
Cory Booker and Kamala Harris auditioning for 2020. It's been something to watch. It's been something to watch. That's all this is. I mean, this is, when it was Garland and Obama was president, in this hypothetical football game, the Republicans did everything on defense. They blitzed. They double covered. They used timeouts strategically. They faked injuries. They did whatever they had to do. The Democrats didn't even put a defense on the field at all. And Obama took it because they thought they were going to win in 2016. So Obama took it. Now the shoe's on the other foot, and they're not doing pretty much anything to actually quote-unquote resist this. They could be using so many political footballs. They're using zero. But they are using an opportunity when the camera's on to speak passionately. That's what they're doing. And, if you think political theater is making a difference, I mean, I guess that's a nice sentiment to entertain, but I highly doubt it's going to.
All right. Well, how about the woman behind it was throwing gang signs? Do you remember that?
I've seen some.
Oh my gosh! Like she's doing supposedly white supremacist signs. I don't know them. I don't know what the signs are. I don't know which. She was comfortably sitting like this and then threw it and sign again. And I'm like, juvenile, yes, and disconcerting if it's real.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is or not. I mean, I see some of the memes people posted, but then other people said a thing that it was fake, and I didn't look that much into it, so I'm not sure one way or the other.
Brownie's throwing gang signs right now. You can't see it,
but they're peace. they're
with this
gang,
little pause.
They're peace.
All right, so
you know what? There was the plaid T-shirt guy in Montana, which talk about knowing how to make the most out of a TV appearance. That guy's going to get the best representation in Hollywood next week.
What?
He really maximized it, but that would be. I think if you stood behind Trump or really any president for that matter and just stood there like this, they would probably move you. You know what I mean? Like if you just were just like, yeah, this is what I want. This is supposedly radical. This is what I want. They would probably make you move.
I have a feeling that Jimmy is waiting till it hit 4,000. Jimmy Dore, it just hit 4,007. So, tell Jimmy, Arno, pretty please, that that we just hit over 4,000. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we'll go to the solid chat, and let's see. This is super chat. So what we're doing right now is, do you have any more questions from Patreon?
We have some more. I feel like we had to wait for Jimmy.
We'll wait for Jimmy. All right, so let me read from Bill on the super chat. And I think, am I wrong that some people want to know, how do I donate money? Listen, save your money. We enjoy doing this. But if you're tight and you're tight, what? If you're, you're struggling, please, maybe instead of, feeling strapped and donating money, have friends watch our show, subscribe to it and get other people to subscribe to it. So that's pretty good. I don't want you to, I want people to be able to subscribe. Somebody said 4,100. So thanks very much for your donations, either super chats and our Patreon. So I want to go to Bill. Bill says, I'm Canadian and I wish Jimmy Dore would start his own political party. You would win the entire country in the election. The Jimmy Dore Show is the best news program anywhere in any format. It's very nice.
Well, it's interesting. I think it was a year ago today that we all went to Washington, D.C. for convergence to try to get Bernie to start a new party. I think it's a year ago today that we all did that. So a year ago today, we all went to Washington, D.C. For a festival or a conference called the Convergence Conference /Draft Bernie. And what that was we were trying to get Bernie to start a new political party. And he didn't show up to accept our signatures, or he wasn't there to accept our signatures, which we kind of half knew was going to happen, but we were hoping he was going to be there. It was still an exciting event. It was still, very kind of inspiring to meet like-minded folks from all different sects. Like people from the DSA were there, people from the SA were there, people from the Green Party were there, content creators were there, other comedians were there. Academics were there, scientists were there, activists were there, different people in office were there. So it was really cool to see everyone come together, and we all recognized the common theme that the two-party duopoly is really not working for us, it's working against us, and doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. So we got to try something different.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I mean, I still look on, and plus it was perfect fall weather in Washington, D.C. Though I don't know if you remember, but it was phenomenal.
Well,
I would just walk. The leaves were changing, and we don't get that here in California. I grew up in the Mid-Atlantic. I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I'm used to having an autumn, and it is one of the things I miss. So that was really cool to get some fall weather in D.C. I got my fix.
Well, I mean, Washington, D.C. was fantastic. We also got a chance to meet our other editor, Matt Orfala. And he's fantastic, and that was like, oh my god, he does live in DC because he does a lot of our our touring shows editing, and he's very talented. And Jimmy has played several of his videos that he has created, so he has a real style. So that's always great. Let me see. Tech Epiphany, thank you very much. Golden Oil, MG Toe is a CIA psyop. Beware. What is that?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I'm not sure like that.
Jean, hey y'all.
What up, y'all?
Like that. 911 was an inside job. GDLFTW! Exclamation.
Sometimes all these abbreviations, they just in real time, they just go over my head. Where I'm just like, I'm not.
I mean, well, first off, they think we're sober when we do this show.
Right. I mean, that's really.
Are you kidding? Okay, so right before the show, this is Studio Pasadena, and it's Is it 96 degrees right now?
It is so hot right now, and we were having some AC issues. Arno saved the day.
Big issues.
Because they covered that in the YouTube certification. He can fix ACs too, so he got it going for us, and
thank God.
which was awesome. But yeah, it is hot here. It's still summertime here, really. I mean, it's summertime through pretty much October.
Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining. I actually love it. But it's something you don't always like. Like when my parents came to visit last year, they were all like, "Man, I wish we could get some beach time, but it's gonna be October." And I was like, "Don't write it off yet." And of course, it was like really, really nice. So we went to Santa Monica. So they were very happy.
They got their beach time.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. I love Courtney. I think we answered that. Who wrote the op-ed? Hillary, Mike Pence. Was it Hillary, Mike Pence? Did we answer that, or was that just somebody else who asked that?
No. We answered that.
Okay, we did answer. Workers of all countries unite.
Yes, workers of all. I'm totally yes, and shoplifters of the world unite and take over too. But yeah, I think we need a nationwide strike in this country, and I know it's easier said than done. I'm not when I say that, I'm not trying to be like, come on, everybody, because I get it. When you're working 2 and 3 jobs to survive and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's really intimidating and scary to just strike. But I think we need a nationwide strike. I know that as somebody who helps with content and creates content, I would try to do everything in my power to help from that end, to try to be a communication vessel for whomever. But I think that's what we need. Other countries that get workers' rights, they freaking strike when they need to. They strike. Germany, they strike. They went on strike, and they got a 28-hour work week now.
Well, really?
Yeah.
Well, I just think, right now we have a piece ready, and we're going to get to it, but it has to do with the prison strike that's going on. And, these strikes have been happening for the last couple years, and it's terrifying what we're doing. And, I just know a little bit about the prison, here right in California, because at one point it was over 300% capacity. And that we still have people in our prisons that are in prison because of pot, or it's awful. It's just awful. So they are making money off of us, and we've got to stop it, and we have to come together. And we still don't understand. We do need our unions. And again, I'm going to say it. I'm all for arming the teachers. I say make it a stronger union, ladies and gents. All right.
Oh, and by the way, real quick, when I said the shoplift, that's a reference to a song. I know some people thought I was being. There's a song by the Smiths called "Shoplifters of the World Unite and Take Over," and that's what that part was a reference to. I do think we need a straight up strike, but
yes.
Yeah.
Chuck Todd blames Fox News for low trust levels. Isn't that funny?
Chuck Todd's not convinced on climate change. Chuck Todd is not. Chuck Todd is. He really wanted to be an actor. He couldn't memorize the lines, So he got a gig where he can just read stuff all the time, and now he's America's newsman. He should not be taken seriously ever.
Giovanna says, Jimmy Hoffa is alive and well, living in the Watergate Hotel. That's funny.
So here's the DVD sender from Aberdeen, Scotland. I'll be in Scotland soon. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, just want to say thanks. Thanks again for those DVDs. Fuzz Logic said, who would win in a Jello wrestling match, Jimmy or Ron?
I'd rather just play ping pong. So,
wow.
So I guess Jimmy by default.
Yeah.
I'd be like, can we just play ping pong instead? This is
Jimmy.
Yeah, this is weird.
Jimmy has an advantage. He definitely has an advantage because he used to wrestle. Okay, but he'll talk to you about that later, Fuzzy Logic. Raymond says, the warmongers are whispering again in Trump's ear. Syria is about gas their own people. Jimmy, do you think he'll fall for it a third time?
I think he will. Yeah, I think he will. I mean, I think that, Trump, he kind of campaigned on the non-interventionist thing, and then, he's doing the opposite, and he's getting praised when he does the opposite. So I think that'll continue. I mean, that's what I think.
Ooh, Imad Orandi, if we petition and people pledge donations, will Jimmy consider running as green? These are fearful times. Jimmy, obliterate the phonies, please. You know what? I know Jimmy would really want to run for office, but that's not in the game plan. Okay, that's this is the game plan. This is what we're doing, and being able to tour more. That's really the game plan. Brownie's head, you can't see it, but Brownie's head is now on the top of my laptop. Okay, I won't move it. All right, so here we go. Would you ever run for office?
No, never. I would never. I mean, here's what I say, and this is maybe this is a little harsh, but this is how I feel. To run for office, you have to have a certain reverence for our system, and I don't have that. I just don't. I don't share that. So I'm not meant to run for office. I'm meant to do something else. Basically what I'm doing is what I'm meant to be doing. So yeah, I mean, there's a certain reverence you have to have. You don't have to have a lot of it. Some have more than others, and some have less for the right reasons. But I just don't have any. I wouldn't be able to, there's just certain things I wouldn't be able to do that you have to do if you want to be on that side of it. So I would never run for office.
I wouldn't run for office either, only because that being a teacher for so long, it's impossible. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to be patient or soft-spoken, or I don't know even if I was that way when I was there. But Jimmy, would you run for office? Okay, that's the answer. Jimmy would not run for office. All right. Off topic, Ron. Can't wait for your show in San Francisco. Ron, when's it in San Francisco?
San Francisco, November 3rd. Tickets available at ronflacone.com, and I can't wait to see you there.
Where are you performing?
Neck of the Woods. And Twitter sensation Peter Douche is going to be opening that show. He's going to be reading some from his new book. And, it's going to be an exciting time.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Cheers from Canada. A round of beers on me. Oh, thank you for the round of beers. You know what? I don't know. Something sounds good right now, like a nice frosty drink of some kind. Okay, so we got that. That was from Max. Thank you, Max from Canada. And then will you bring on people to discuss 9/11? Truth Movement, A&E for 9/11 Truth Pilots and 9/11 Truth, etc. Thank you for your request, JC. You know what? We do get a lot of requests to cover a lot of different topics. So, Jimmy,
I already talked about this. I'm not an engineer.
He's not an engineer. Oh, right.
Just assume the government's lying.
Okay. Just assume the government's lying. Thank you.
I don't,
Stand by. Come to San Diego. I saw that.
Okay. We'll come back to San Diego. We need to get our schedule frickin' going. Hi, everybody.
I need somebody to commit to the dates I provide.
I know. Steffi's giving me some dates. We might get one at the end of November in New York at the Bell House in Brooklyn. I just I'm bad at pulling the trigger on things, and so we didn't go to San Francisco this summer, which was ridiculous because we sold out the year before in San Francisco. But that theater, we did it in the clothes changed hands or something, and blah blah. Things happen. We didn't do it. It's stupid that we didn't, because it's our favorite thing to do is to tour and do live shows. It's my favorite thing anyway. I don't know. Is it your favorite thing, Steph?
It is my favorite thing.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
How about
Portland was fantastic. Chicago was a dream. It was a new space, and it was our largest space.
Yeah.
Touring is my favorite thing. It always has been and always will be.
Oh, really?
I mean, really. I mean, that's like when I think about from day one, being a road comic or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's always
so
the greatest.
So how did it? So you had to have some pangs on that Sunday when you couldn't go to Chicago and do that show.
I was very, very bummed out. I was very, very bummed out. And some
Okay.
people were tweeting at me in real time saying when you were, doing the jokes and stuff, and that made me feel a little better.
I was mentioning your
better.
name.
Yeah. Couldn't believe you didn't know what Malore was.
I don't know. I don't know what.
I had no idea.
No, I don't. You saw the
Is it
video.
newer? Like, yeah, I watched the video.
I lived in Chicago until 1995. So I was born in 1965. I lived there for 30 years. And then I moved out to Los Angeles to make it in show business, which a lot of people think that's late, right? They're 30 already. You're moving. Yeah, that's, I was a single guy. I had done comedy for 5 years in the Midwest. And I felt like I was ready. I was a headliner. Not really. I really wasn't. I thought I was. It takes a long time. Jerry Seinfeld says it takes 5 years to be a good comedian, 10 years to be a great one. So, and that's if you have it in you and you diligently and all that blah, blah. But,
well, next time we're in the Windy City together, we got to do it. We'll chase it with some old
Malore?
style. Yeah.
Somebody gave me a shot.
Yeah, no, I know. They brought it to the stage.
I tasted it. Somebody was telling me it tastes like ass or something.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible. It's
Why
totally
would you
terrible.
want it? Why would you want it?
Here's the thing. It's a Chicago handshake. You do Malore.
How do I not know
it.
this? And I'm from Chicago.
Maybe, I don't know. I figured you would. That's why I put it in there.
That's so wild. That is so wild. Hey, okay, so.
Do you have any audio today?
Oh, yeah, I have to check the audio.
Yeah, check the audio and you can throw
We'll read
back.
a few more things.
Yeah, you know what? Somebody said, David Wade, just from the chat over here, I looked and they said, Steph, what are you and Jimmy's thoughts on the guy who's doing readings of Omarosa and Bob Woodward's books? I know a company of, sketch comedy players that used to go around and they would read biographies of celebrities, which was it was terrific. Like, they would get Sinbad, and they would read from his book. And so, something like this, Omarosa, I'm sure it'll be interesting. But I haven't heard of the guy doing it, by the way.
What? I missed. What?
So you remember, the writer asked, what were our thoughts on the guy who's doing readings of Omarosa's book and Woodward's book? What did we think about that? That's what I thought, JD.
I think that's always fun, because it's funny to see people laugh at things that aren't meant to be funny. That's always fun.
So, real quick here too, the person whose art we were sharing with you guys at the beginning of the stream. Thanks for the shout out on my art. My Twitter is @CarmenStefDiego. It's a play on Carmen Sandiego, an old series on geopolitics and internet detectives. I remember that game in school. It was the greatest.
It was a great game.
But just to give a proper shout out here, that Twitter handle is @CarmenStefDiego, spelled STEPhiego. So thank you for that, and thanks for the wonderful comic.
Brownie loves it. Brownie really loves it. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go.
Oh, you did the thing with the Brownie at Dogo show?
Yes, that's what I started with. Yeah, so I was there.
That's why I'm looking at.
And you kept looking, and you're like, where are you? And I'm like...
You can see why I was like,
it was just a one panel. I was like, I'm all alone.
Do we have any other Patreon questions?
Yeah. We got some, and now Jimmy, that you're here. So here's a really fun one. How did you get started in this business?
In what, the news business?
You can take that however you want.
Yeah.
That's
I got started in show business, meaning standing up comedy, and I like to say standing up comedy because you're not supposed to say it like that. But I like mispronouncing things. To me, it's funny. It makes me laugh. It gives me I laugh all the way down in my stomach. So I got started. I went to an open mic in Lyons, Illinois, which is right by Cicero, Illinois, which is right where Al Capone was, and his headquarters were. Anyway, went to a place called the Comedy Womb, WOMB, and I thought I saw some people on TV that I thought I was funnier than. Like, I didn't think I could be funny like a stand-up comedian, because whenever I would go to a stand-up comedy show, those guys were freaking hilarious for like 15, 20, 30 minutes right in a row. Like, I could be funny for 4 or 5 minutes at a party if everything goes right, but I couldn't do that. I didn't realize that they were doing material every night and they were working on the same things, because they made it look like they were just talking. So, anyway, so I went and I did my first open mic. It was at the 1989, I think it was, August, maybe, July or August. And I was drunk because I was nervous and scared. But that was that. And then I moved out to Los Angeles in 1995 to get on TV, and it worked right away. I got an agent, Bruce Smith, at Omnipop, and he got me on TV, or he got me auditions for TV, and I got on. I was on that late Friday on NBC that would come on right after the Tonight Show. I was on that show like 5 or 6 times. That was really cool. I was on, then there was another show called Late Friday that Lisa Langang booked. I was on that twice. I was on NBC a bunch. And then I did Jimmy Kimmel. That was one of the worst sets of my life when I was on Jimmy Kimmel. Luckily, a lot of comedians, that was like the thing about Jimmy Kimmel's show. I don't know if it's still that way, but everyone used to eat it on his show. So that's why they built that little club. Do you remember, Ron, when they would do? I don't know if I don't watch late night comedy anymore, or those talk shows.
You mean being at the Improv?
No, I mean Jimmy Kimmel. He built a little stage. So if you did stand up, they had like a club built. Separate part. So that was really cool that he did that. So Jimmy Kimmel is I think he's a cool guy overall. I really do. I've known him, tangentially. He and I never went to lunch or anything, but I used to go hang out with him and Todd Glass, and when Sarah Silverman was dating Jimmy Kimmel, he would go and hang out in his dressing room after the show very often. He was a lot of fun. Everybody who worked at that show were all good people too. So it was. I loved to do. I just had a tough set on that show, like everybody did, and they tried to make it better. So that's how I got. And then I got started in doing this news kind of thing in 2010. It was, I think. Well. No, it was in 2006. They opened the UCB Theater, the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Los Angeles. There was one in New York, and they were looking for shows to put up. And so they asked me, Jimmy, would you do a show? So that's when I decided I had to do a video show, because I had hurt my back and I've been watching a lot of TV, and I couldn't believe how bad the TV news was. So I started doing that show at the UCB Theater in Hollywood, and that's when my manager saw me, or he wasn't my manager at the time, but he came and saw a show I did there, and then he was my manager. He's like, wow, that was blah, blah, we liked your show, we'd like to represent you. And there's Alex Murray, and he now represents a lot of big Jim Gaffigan and Chris Hardwick and a lot of people with a lot of TV shows and stuff. So, and he got me his hour special and sold a book for me and got me another special on Hulu, and he did a lot of good stuff for me. And then in 2010, the Young Turks called because a guy named Hank Thompson.
Somebody just asked, how did you get involved with TYT?
So a guy named Hank Thompson, who was a comedian in Chicago, he knew about me because I was from Chicago. So once you leave Chicago and you move to LA and you get on TV, people back in Chicago know who you are because you're a comedian on TV. And so he knew who I was, and they were looking for guest hosts when Cenk Uygur got the MSNBC job. Here's MSNBC. In a weird way, made this happen for me because they hired Cenk, and so they needed people to do the Young Turks show while Cenk was in New York doing that show, and they would have guest hosts. So Hank Thompson said, hey, there's this political comedian, Jimmy Dore. He has a political hour comedy stand-up special on Comedy Central right now. And I don't mind bragging. It was chosen Best of the Year by iTunes and Punchline Magazine. Thank you very much. So I was very proud of that. That was really, really nice. And so they called me up and said, hey, would you come fill in? So I had been doing live Jimmy Dore shows with video like I do here, but in front of an audience. You see those videos. And so I was ready. When they called me, they said, hey, I go, and they said, hey, we'll produce we prepare the stories for you. I'm like, no, I got the stories. Don't worry, I got it. So I went in and I had my own. I did the whole, nobody had to produce everything. I went in with Frank Conniff. And we hit it out of the park, and their audience really liked us, and so that was that. We were off to the races. They were like, oh, we got a new guy we like, and So they were going to start producing the Jimmy Dore show daily then, but they didn't for whatever reason. It was Steve-O's idea, and I don't know if they didn't have the resources or whatever, but I wanted to follow Cenk's model like I'm doing now, right? So you put up like 4 clips a day, and you do a daily show so people can rely on you. They know that you have new content, and it just didn't work out. And so finally, in like 2015, it was really because of the success of Kyle Kalinske. So Kyle Kalinski's show, when he started doing Secular Talk, I kind of knew of him because Steve-O and them told me about him, and I saw his show, and I thought he was good, and the show did a good show. And then I just saw how wildly, successful he was, and he encouraged me, and he said, hey, a guy like you would kill it. A guy who's up on the news, and plus he's a comedian and funny, and he had told me that for, at least a year. And so finally, I just saw his show take off, like the way it took off, and I was like, you know what? Maybe he's right. If he could do it, I could do it. And that was that. So that's when I started doing the show. It was in November, December of 2015. So this incantation of this show really hasn't been around for that long. It's been started as a radio show on KPFK. Maybe I skipped that part. So it started as a radio show in 2009. Alan Minsky, a guy named Ali Alexa, saw me doing the live Jimmy Dore show at the Improv. So all good stuff came from live performances, right? So he saw me doing a show live at the Improv. He gave me a radio show. Ali Alexa introduced me to Alan Minsky, and he gave me a radio show at KPFK, which is nationwide, and it's out in New York. So that also made me ready. So there was a big learning curve on how to do a good radio show. A lot of people do radio shows, and most of them suck. So it was hard for me to figure out how to do a good one that people would actually tune in for, or listen to the podcast for. And I think we did it. We pulled it off. And the show has evolved now. Now the show is more me. It's less joke heavy, but there still are lots of jokes. Okay, so that was the longest answer possible to that.
Jimmy, as Shiva guest coral, is this coral that you're wearing?
This is not. Thanks for asking.
Is it salmon? That's my guess.
That is good guess. Thanks. I like this because no one's going to get it. But it's a good guess.
Is it copper red?
It is no, but very good guess. So
is it Cupertino pink?
It is not Cupertino pink. But when I was up in Cupertino, because I play a comedy club up there called Rooster Teeth Feathers in Sunnyvale, which I should just book a date up there and go up and do some stand up. When is your date up there?
November 2nd, Sacramento. November 3rd, San Francisco.
What day is November 3rd of the week?
Saturday.
Maybe we'll book a Sunday up there. That would work, I think.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So.
What date?
November 3rd, maybe.
Okay, you remind me. I'll look.
So. Now I forget what I was saying. Oh, the shirt color.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
Color of the shirt.
Is it mauve? Is it peach? Is it tulip?
No. Why would I bring up San Francisco?
Cupertino.
Oh, so when I was up in Cupertino, I would just drive around. There's lots of people up there because that's where the Apple is. That's their headquarters. And so there's like thousands of people who work for them up there, and they're like walking around, crossing streets, and it's almost like a city. And so I would just stop by the corner when there'd be a red light, and I'd just scream out the window, "Hey, does anybody know who the guy was who fucked up iTunes and iMovie? Who was it? I'd like to go talk to him."
Did anybody know?
That's a
valid question.
I would literally do that. I would roll down the window. Does anybody know who the guy is who fucked up iMovie? Because they know it's fucked up. And iTunes, they wrecked iTunes.
Yeah.
I have no idea how to use iTunes. I don't, and I'm
you know what? I gave up on iTunes as soon as it started to change. I even had like a little nanopod that I want to like update. I'm like, I know it's gonna like clear every song I've ever had.
I don't even know where my songs are.
I don't know where my passwords are.
iTunes sucks so hard. Why is it so shitty? Why did they have to keep screwing with it? They wrecked it.
They had a meeting, and they were like, people are having too much fun.
Yeah.
Too many videos are being made. People are enjoying it. They're expressing themselves. Kill it. Kill it right away.
Do you use iTunes, Ron?
A little bit.
He's the professor.
I mostly just do it on my phone. Like, I have a podcast thing and, like, the app, and then I just search for whatever I want and subscribe.
But, like, to try to use iTunes now, I could never I don't know why I couldn't figure it out, but I can. So let's talk about Elon.
Hold on really quickly. Flamingo pink?
No. Do you want me to tell you?
Persimmon?
I'll tell you at the end of the show.
Is that a male pink?
Let's do this story.
Vintage pink.
No, these are all good guesses, though.
Panera Bread pink?
Oh. No. So let's, that was crazy that Mike Preisner guessed coral off the frickin' bat. Who knows that? Coral?
Strawberry Fields?
No, good guess, though. So let's do a story, and then at the end of the story, I'll tell you what the color of the shirt is.
Okay. Just so you know, Jimmy, according to my stream, you have over 5,168 views.
So thank you very much for tuning in. Now, if you can't tune in every Saturday when we do this, we make this available to our patrons, right? So last week we did 2.5 hours, the whole thing. So, and we take certain clips out of this and we post it to our main channel, but most of it is not posted to the main channel. So this is for our subscribers or our patrons, our supporters. So if you're a live stream viewer and you like to join our Patreon, please do so. And we give you, that's one of the bonus things. And we're working out some more bonus things to give people, like to make tickets to the live shows available to them first, stuff like that. Like, we never knew how to do that, but other people do, so we're going to contact them and make more things. So that we really appreciate the people who become a member and fight. This is the only way we can fight back. You see how bad the mainstream news media is. You see them pushing the Iran war right now. You see them pushing Russiagate, even though we just did a video yesterday. I haven't dropped it yet. The DHS. So the Russiagate thing is being used by many different people for different reasons. I learned this week that the Department of Homeland Security put out a complete bullshit story that Russia hacked into 21 state election things, whatever you call them, and got like voting rolls and all. Remember that story? It was widely, and then Vox said it was 39 states, twice as many as we originally thought, and all of that. And it turns out it was a total bullshit story. And the guy from the DHS actually was confronted in Congress by a congressperson at a hearing, and he said, "Well, I wouldn't call them attacks. I would call them scanning, and it's just natural. That happens all the time." It's unbelievable what's going on right now. We're living in the middle of a Red Scare like happened before with Joseph McCarthy, except it's not just one person pushing it. And it's ubiquitous, right? And people send me articles on Twitter going, "Yeah, but Jimmy, they did hack into the state election boards in 21 states," and they send me these articles, and they're all bullshit. I know it's in Vox. I know it's in Huffington Post. I know that it's still wrong. I have the video of the guy at the congressional hearing saying it was all bullshit from the DHS, the undersecretary from the DHS. I have that. So the point of this is, for whatever reason, a Jagoff nightclub comedian is the guy telling the truth when the mainstream and your alternative news isn't. There's a lot of alternative news. The reason why I'm doing this, that I do this show, but I do a show called The Aggressive Progressives on the Young Turks channel, is because I didn't agree with the Young Turks, editorial view on a lot of things. And so I wanted to do a show that kind of counter-narrative the main show at the Young Turks. I brought it to Cenk Uygur. I said, I'd like to do this show, and because I have a counter-narrative to you. I have a different view editorially on what's happening, and, it's driving me nuts. And he said, sure, you can do a show that has a different point of view on the news than me, and I'll produce it for you. So a lot of people, so that's mind-blowing that Cenk can disagree with me that hard and still produce that show that disagrees with him very hard. I wouldn't do that for someone else. I would not produce someone else's show who had a totally different opinion than me on stuff. I just wouldn't do it. So, again, so even alternative shows, I feel, aren't getting it right. And I think that, when like the Young Turks, I don't think they're getting it wrong because of money or whatever. I think that or they have a different view, or their view is influenced that way. I think they honestly think that stuff. So I don't ever question Cenk's integrity or the main show's integrity. So what I'm asking you is that please support this show because we're one of the only places out there. Kyle Kalinske, also Humanist Report, and a few Glenn Greenwald and a few other people. Aaron Matei over at the Real News. Who gives you this point of view? There's only a handful of places, and we're being throttled right now by YouTube. We just did a story we're going to drop today. We did a story yesterday about how they get a study and they caught them. They're throttling YouTube right now. So, plus internally, YouTube's throttling independent news, right? So they unsubscribe people from our channel to hurt our growth. I'm not kidding. That's so. They even tell you how many people they unsubscribe from your channel. 10,000 people a month. They unsubscribe from our channel. 10,000. Now, over a year, that's 120,000 people. So our show, which is right near 400,000 right now, would be over 500,000. We'd have 520,000 if they wouldn't be throttling us, but they are. So what I'm saying is we rely on you to become our patron. Please become a member of the Jimmy Dore Show and help support us and help get the word out there. And we'd like to do more things. We'd like to do more reporting, go more places, do more live shows. We like to do all that. Please become a patron if you're watching this live stream. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. You could start off at $5 a month, get you the audio podcast. $10 a month, get you the video podcast. And plus, we're going to be adding extra benefits as we go further. So that's going to be reading people's names who are our patrons and giving them shout outs that way. Plus, we send people. What do we send people when they sign up?
We send people 30 and up get a CD, 50 and up get a CD and a T-shirt, and then if you're one of the big heavy 100 and up, you get VIP passes to any live show you want.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay, so let's do a story. Can we do a story, Steph?
Let's do a story, JD.
So Elon Musk was on the Joe Rogan show.
Yes, he was.
Now, I like Joe Rogan. I've done that show twice. It's a blast. I can't believe the stuff Joe Rogan gets away with. Like, he's just created his own niche in this universe, and it's popular. And we're going to have Tulsi Gabbard on this show coming up pretty soon. And she got in touch with us because of the Joe Rogan show. She saw me on Joe's show and then reached out and said, I'd like to go on your show. So that's the power of that guy's show. It's very powerful. And he had Elon Musk on, so you know Elon. And this happened.
Or is it a cigar?
It's not playing in the room.
Stand by.
Or is it a cigar?
No.
Okay, so let me play it again. Ready?
Or is it a cigar?
No.
Okay.
It's marijuana inside of tobacco.
Oh, okay. So it's like pot tobacco pods.
You never had that?
Yeah, I think I tried one once.
Come on, man. Probably can't because stockholders, right?
I mean, did you hear what he said?
Yep.
You probably can't because of stockholders, right? First of all, I know a lot of people, and Joe likes smoking pot with the tobacco in it. To me, that is the grossest thing in the world. And I know a lot of people love it, but just to me personally, gross. When I was in Australia, they did that. They would hand out, because you could still smoke in the nightclubs when I was there, so I would just light up joints. And it looked like a cigarette because I would roll them in one of those cigarette rolling machines. And I would just be smoking pot inside, and no one knew the hell. They're like, where's that smell coming from? Because everybody was smoking, so they... Anyway, that's gross. Because I quit smoking cigarettes. And then if you smoke tobacco, it's like giving heroin to a heroin addict. Like, oh, no, I want more. So that's a bad idea. And by the way, nothing tastes better than just straight pot. Why you gotta... whatever. So there they are, and he says, oh, you can't do it because of the stockholders?
It's legal, right?
It's totally legal.
Okay.
How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things?
This is all hilarious. Talk about foreshadowing.
Right?
Do people get upset with you if you do certain things?
Inhale. Oops.
Tobacco and marijuana in there. That's all it is. He doesn't inhale.
He didn't even inhale it.
It's a combination of tobacco and marijuana.
He didn't even inhale. He did a Bill Clinton.
Yeah. First turned onto it by Charlie Murphy, and then reignited by Dave Chappelle. There you go. Plus whiskey.
Exactly.
Perfect. Balances it out.
I mean, alcohol is a drug. It's been grandfathered in.
Well, it's not.
So that happened. How funny all that stuff Joe Rogan said. His stockholders got that. So here's a tweet from Andrew Yang. What a great name. He said, Elon Musk and Joe Rogan talked about many important topics, specifically how artificial intelligence will reshape our society. And instead, the headlines are about him trying weed, a harmless drug that is legal in California and should be completely illegal in the USA. Yes, that is correct. Totally agree with you, Andrew Yang. Andrew Yang, FA, BFA. Did you see that? See that? It says Andrew Yang, what does BFA stand for?
Very fine actor.
There it is. NPR says Tesla stock takes a hit after Elon Musk does the same.
They were so proud of that headline.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
they
were.
So proud of that headline.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah. So there you go. So the stocks did take it just as Joe Rogan predicted. That's amazing that he said that. Oh, you can't do that. A lot of people get mad at you for doing certain things. Yes. Yes.
It was like the most subtle of peer pressure. Like it was like, oh, stockholders.
Yeah, you don't want to be beholden to. What are you? You somebody's bitch? That's what he. Right? You're
like the slightest.
Yeah, he's like really like, but you can't do it because you got people like you got a daddy looking over your shoulder. So, my brother says they're effing with our stream today. He's never seen it this bad. So we've had people tell us that before. Our lawyer friend, my brother Miles is a lawyer.
I'd like to make the first recommendation is to restart your computer first before panicking.
My brother says no sound and then buffers forever. But our friend, so that's my brother Miles, a lawyer, and we have another lawyer friend who says they buffer us like crazy. When he was in Mexico, they were buffering us. So ask people on those. If you're,
I haven't seen
I can
anybody
ask you.
say this on
How
our
does
stream right now.
Can you go to our thing and wherever you
Yeah, doing it right now.
to comment and tell?
Nobody's saying buffering problem.
Our connection is good on our end.
So it's good on our end. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the heads up, Miles.
Go ahead.
Tesla shares fell more. Can you cut that part out? Make it more. Tesla shares fell more than 6% on Friday after top executives resigned and CEO Elon Musk appeared to smoke pot in a video. Are you out of your... Do you know 20 frickin' years ago? No. 30 years ago, the President of the United States admitted to smoking pot. 30 frickin' years ago, the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, admitted to smoking pot. 30 years ago. You know who else admitted to smoking pot? Newt Gingrich, right? Didn't everybody? Well, let me take that back. But didn't Barack Obama admit to smoking pot?
Oh yeah, Obama did.
So all right, so that's two.
I don't know about Newt, but I know Obama did.
2 out of the last 4 presidents admitted to smoking pot. Is this still people? This is really that's the thing that made people because Elon Musk smoked pot on a video at a podcast. That is the dumbest thing.
Maybe it's because he didn't inhale.
Yeah.
Maybe people are like, this guy, I don't know.
He doesn't even know how to
That's pretty.
News of the resignation of Tesla Chief Accounting Officer Dave Morton came Friday, according to the securities filing. Morton stated that the level of public attention placed on the company and the pace within the company caused him to reconsider his future. I don't know what any of that crap
Well, then that doesn't really sound like that is in response to somebody smoking pot. That just means, hey, you know what? This is it. This is one more thing. I don't want to deal with the demands and the public attention this company is getting. I'm done.
I don't know what that means. That he's trying. Well, it's weird timing, then, right?
Yeah, that is odd timing.
That is odd timing.
Those two things are completely unrelated.
Look, I was thinking about quitting anyway, and so this has nothing to do with the pot smoking. It has everything to do with the pot smoking.
I was thinking about quitting, then dude didn't even inhale. And
He added that he believed in Tesla, saying, I have no disagreements with Tesla's leadership or its financial reporting. So he's trying to pretend it's not about that, but it's really odd timing, David. Morton had been on the job for about a month. He gave it... Come on!
He gave it the good old college try. You do it for a month.
Starting one day before Musk announced on Twitter that he was considering taking the electric car company private. That tweet made stocks soar. So stocks were soaring right before this. So when he said he was going to take it private, That makes stock soar. I wonder why that makes. I don't know enough about finance to know why that would make the stock soar. Do you, Ron?
No.
Me neither. At $420 a share, get the F out of here. Get the F out of here. Come on. 420? Are you freaking killing? 420 at 420? Come on.
Yes.
Maybe someone in the marketing department told him if he offers you a joint, hit it, because guess what our share is? Who knows?
Hit it. At $420 a share, some people wondered whether the number was meant to reference marijuana culture. I was not on weed, to be clear, he told the New York Times. Weed is not helpful for productivity. There's a reason for the word stone. You just sit there like a stone on weed. Okay, that's not true, mister. I don't even inhale when I smoke pot. It's great for creativity. I don't know about productivity, but it's great for creativity.
And look, we know you weren't stoned. You know how we know that? Because you said the words, I was not on weed. Nobody says that ever.
Are you on the weed? Rob, you look like you're on the weed.
You look like
today.
you're on the weed this morning.
Who's on the weed?
Well, wasn't somebody just saying recently, like, if you say pot, they know you're older, but if you say weed, you're a younger generation? Isn't like that's a whole
I didn't hear
right
that.
now?
I don't know. I didn't hear.
I say pot, so I guess
You're an old man.
I guess so.
You're an old man. You
I
gotta say weed.
I say grass. How old is that? When I was a kid, they would call it grass. Hey, who's got some grass? They would call it grass. No one calls it that.
Yeah.
They would call it grass.
I think I've heard that, but yeah, I've definitely never heard anyone
Or how about
say it.
Well, they still no one. Like there's that Reefer Madness movie, but no one ever referred to pot as reefer.
I've only ever heard people do that, like, ironically, like they're making fun of themselves, like in a self-deprecating, like, oh, where's the reefer, like that.
Yeah. So whenever a cop car would go by, my next door neighbor, or sometimes when a cop car would go by, my neighbor Kyle Kitlars would yell, "Ditch the reefer!" Right? Like he was going to make the cops go crazy. Like, what? Someone's got reefer. Ditch the reefer. How about that? Okay.
Just want to give you a couple updates. Australia, no buffering. All is good. All is good in the
hold
UK.
on. Let's finish this story before we give more stuff for Arnold to cut out. Gabby Toledano, Tesla's head of human resources, also said she was leaving the company on Friday. She had been on leave for a few months to be with her family, Tesla wrote in a blog post. Other entrepreneurs have used marijuana, including the late Steve Jobs and
He's dead.
And George Zimmer, founder of Men's Warehouse. Virgin Group founder Richard Branson reportedly encouraged parents to smoke joints with their children. You know who else has used marijuana? Every musician you've ever liked in your life. How about that? Except for apparently Ted Nugent. I saw him on Joe Rogan. He said he doesn't smoke the pot, and he used all these ridiculous reasons why. And then I saw someone say, I smoked a joint with Ted backstage in friggin' 1988 or something like that. And I was like, I'm sure Ted Nugent has smoked a lot of it.
Maybe Ted didn't remember it because he's not a frequent user.
Yeah, maybe that's it. So like Paul McCartney, like those guys smoke pot. Like George Carlin, Paul McCartney, Rodney Dangerfield. So now people, how about all the Rolling Stones, who are, by the way, now knights? They've been knighted.
It made Bob Dylan and the Beatles friends.
Yes.
Because that song, like, where it says, I have that love I can't hide, when Bob Dylan first heard that song, he thought they were saying, I get high. And he's like, they do? I gotta hang out with these guys. So when the Beatles and Bob Dylan first hung out, he's like, yeah, I know the song, you say you get high. And the Beatles were like, yeah, of course we do, because they didn't want to look lame, right? Yeah. So he's like, here, I got some. And the truth is, none of the Beatles had ever tried it before, so they made Ringo try it first. Like, they were like, Ringo loves it the most. But then, of course, they all loved it.
Of course. Yellow is history. And the next thing you know, you little yellow submarine.
Yep.
So this is ridiculous. Like, that's the 60s. So that was 70 years ago? I'm bad with math. Is that 50 years ago? I don't know how long ago.
All right, don't do the math.
How long ago was the 60s?
It was like, it was over 50. It was over 50.
We're so stupid. There's a little bit more to
math
this.
in real time.
Several media outlets incorrectly reported that the U.S. Air Force was reviewing Musk's security clearance after the video of him smoking was published online because his company SpaceX provides services to the government, Reuters reported. Yeah, I heard that too. But that's not true. Do people want privacy? Musk asked Rogan in the video because they seem to put everything on the internet. Ironical. It's super ironical. So there you go. Oh, look, we jumped up. We're up almost by 6,000 people.
Whoa!
So I can't believe this is a thing, and I can't believe that this is so. Again, 2 out of the last 4 presidents have admitted to smoking pot. Bob Dylan, a Nobel Prize winner for poetry or something. He got it for that. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Weed, one of the most innocuous drugs in the history of drugs. But if he sat there and he had a glass of Everclear, or if they both did a shot of Everclear on there, it would be no one would give, which is way more destructive. Everclear is like 200 proof. It's like straight. That stuff will take the pain off of.
Even John Boehner's okay with it at this point.
Yeah, John Boehner's okay with weed. For F's sake, are you kidding me? My brother Miles says no sound since you started on Musk topic. All my other streams are fine, but your show.
Tell him try a lower resolution. Somebody said.
Somebody said try a lower resolution, Miles. Oh, I don't know if you can hear. Someone said try a lower resolution. Anyway, so do you want to talk about this? Are we done with this? Elon Musk and Joe Rogan?
Is there more to it?
No, that's it. That's the end of the story. So it's just watch this and laugh because of all the shit they said.
Or is it a cigar?
No.
Okay.
It's marijuana inside of
He looks a little uncomfortable.
Okay. So it's like pot tobacco pod.
You never had that?
Yeah, I think I tried one once.
I think I tried it once. You're not sure?
He's pushing him a little bit. Come on, man.
Only did it,
say that.
if you only did it once, you would super remember that you only did it once, right?
Oh,
I think I did it. I don't. You're going to remember if you were ever high once in your life? What? That's like saying, I think I went over Niagara Falls once. I'm not sure.
Right?
What? That's not something you're not sure of.
Do you still remember your first time? I totally still remember my first time.
Smoking pot? Yes.
Smoke a pot. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes.
I remember my first time. I thought I wasn't going to leave my couch. I was like, this is the most comfortable couch that's ever been created ever. And I think I'm going to stay here forever. And
You had good pot.
I'm in 6th grade, so I don't know what I'm going to do when it's time for school.
I was also, I think, like in 7th grade, the first time I did it. I had the best goddamn time I ever had. It was the funnest. I was camping with my family. We would go to this place in Michigan called Hollywood Shores. And we would go there for like a month and a half at a time. Anyway, in the summer. And some people had some weed. And these guys who were camping there had some weed. I smoked it. I never laughed so hard in my life. That first time I smoked pot with those guys. I never laughed so hard. And then I didn't smoke pot. I smoked pot maybe 5 times. And then I didn't smoke pot again all through high school.
And I didn't smoke it much in high school. I didn't get more into it until college.
And then in college, I only did it maybe 5 times in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and when I did it, I got high. I was eating everything. I was so high one time. So I only got high 5 times in college, probably, and 5 times before that. And I had this. It was like a bread bowl. You know how sometimes they put like a spinach dip in a bread bowl, right? So we had eaten the spinach dip, but the bread bowl just kind of sat there in my college dorm room. It was like on a shelf or something. It was like for like a week. And
I was just going to ask how long had that bread bowl been sitting there?
So I got high, and the only thing I had to eat was that bread bowl, and there was some French onion dip in my little fridge, and I was like, fuck it, and I just ate it. It was so good. It was so good. I couldn't believe it.
Finally aged bread bowl.
Oh, boy. Couldn't be healthy. But anyway, how funny is that? So let's watch this again.
Or is it a cigar?
No.
Okay.
It's marijuana inside of tobacco.
Oh, okay. So it's like pot tobacco pod.
You never had that?
Yeah, I think I tried one once.
You probably can't get stuck.
Joe's totally
I mean, it's legal, right?
Totally legal.
Totally legal.
How does that work? Do people get upset at you if you do certain things? Tobacco and marijuana.
Watch him not inhale.
He did a nail!
I bet he wishes he did now.
Tobacco and marijuana
Yeah.
is wonderful. First turned onto it by Charlie Murphy, and then reignited by Dave Chappelle. Hey.
Exactly.
Perfect. Balances it out.
I mean, alcohol's a drug. It's been grandfathered in.
Well, yes, it has been grandfathered in. All right, so that was fun to watch. So cut it there. Do we have any questions we can get to?
What's the color?
Oh,
Yeah, you gotta tell us.
so now I'm going to tell people we've got a lot of new viewers since I announced it. The color of the shirt, we're going to guess what the color of the shirt is. Now, I had a shirt that was similar to this, was a long sleeve shirt I wore last Saturday. The color of that shirt was coral. And that was guessed right off the bat by my prize nerd, who totally fucked it up for me. It was. But,
He knows his fabrics.
he knows his colors.
Nailed it.
He knows it. So I'm going to tell you what this color is right now. Does anybody even come close? Any more guesses? Did anybody?
How do I know if they come close when I don't know the answer?
Any more guesses that people donated for?
Oh, donated. I don't have any donations for the guests. Let me scroll.
Okay.
Scroll. Give me 1 second. I was just asking from the side.
All right. So I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you what the color is. Mineral red. Ooh. Mineral
Nobody
red.
guessed that one.
Nobody guessed that.
Somebody, Raymond Kaler said taffy or bubblegum. He goes with bubblegum.
Good guess.
Good guess.
Very good guess.
That's a really
Those are all good guess.
That's a fantastic guess.
Mineral red.
So, I think Mineral Red and Bubblegum got to arm wrestle. I don't know.
Just do it. Switch it. Oh.
You want to take another patron question?
Yes. So
Let me do one quick question and then to you. So sorry, Ron. Jimmy, who would win in a what kind of wrestling was it again?
Oh, you want to revisit that?
Yeah, what was that called?
Jello wrestling.
Jello wrestling. Who would win, you or Ron?
You wrestled before. I never have. So.
Jello wrestling.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
That's for women. And it's supposed to. It's just for guys to get off. I'm looking at women sloshing. It's not, no, they don't actually have a competition, right? They just. Right?
This person donated money. They would appreciate a spot. Who would win, Jimmy?
Well, Ron would win because he's got the youth and energy, and I've got bad back. I can't do anything. As soon as I
But
bend
plus,
over, it
what
hurts.
happens if you saw Ron in his wrestling uniform?
Oh. So, I used to wrestle in high school, usually just until I came. If I could have controlled my organism, I could have went to state. Boy, did my dad win Saturdays. My opponents are like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, look what you're wearing. Now, that's a great joke written by Rich Brown, and he gave it to me when I moved out to L.A. Said, no, because he had quit comedy, he was going to make his money in selling copies. He couldn't be less of a salesman.
So did you wrestle in high school?
But he's a great joke writer. He's one of the best joke writers ever. So I told that joke to Peter Fairley one night when I first moved to LA. I was in a bar in Santa Monica and talking with Peter Fairley, who had just gotten done directing Kingpin and Dumb and Dumber. And so I start telling jokes to him, right? And I do that joke, and he almost fell off the bar stool, laughing so hard. It was the funniest joke I ever heard. And I told him, I go, hey, my buddy Rich Brown wrote that joke. And what I should have said was, thanks, I wrote that joke. But I did. I said, my buddy Rich Brown, he writes all these great jokes. And so Peter called him. It was hard for Peter to get a hold of him. Anyway, he did, and then Rich has been writing for the Fairley Brothers ever since.
Wow.
See, that's how that happens? Yeah. So, there you go.
All right, Patreon question time, JD.
Wilson's got something for us. Hello, JD and team. We are the Canadians that came to both your trips to Portland, Oregon. Obviously, we really love the show. Tommy Douglas was the father of Medicare in Canada. He also started a new party in Canada called NDP. After doing so, he was smeared as a Russian spy. He came up with a funny comeback. So what they want to know, since Bernie's not coming on the show, Tommy Douglas is dead, would you consider reaching out to Keither Sutherland to talk about third parties and
Turn to the camera and invite Kiefer right now. Gas their own people.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think he'll do it for the third time? Do you think he'll finally do it?
Yes. If it's up to him, yeah, he already said he wanted to. Or been reported. It's tough to figure out what's real and what's not. Bob Woodward. Are the books that should be written after Trump gets out of office about how crazy and horrible he was, and because but that anonymous thing that was in the New York Times, what a bunch of bullshit! I cannot effing believe they. There is. Yeah, I mean, for a paper that pushes every war, I guess there's no bottom for these people, right? And it's just amazing that people thought, hey, the way to resist Trump is to buy the New York Times. The New York Times is going to push every war he wants, okay? Just so you know. In fact, even the wars Trump doesn't want, they're going to push them. So, what was the question?
Do you think he's going to fall for it again?
Yeah.
All right, you got more from Patreon? Anything there, buddy?
Yeah, sure. We got a.
It's okay. Thank you, Ward Wilson, and thank you, Mo.
I have more stuff to talk. Remember, there's only a few companies. There's only like 5 companies that own everything. So he got in trouble finally. Les Moonves. Well, here's the report. Here's what they say.
CBS Corporation is neglectful misconduct. That is part of talks to settle a larger legal dispute between CBS and its largest shareholder, that's National Amusements. Moonves is being offered a $100 million exit package. His employment contract includes a guaranteed severance of nearly $180 million if he is removed without cause. The Time's Up organization says that Moonves should leave with no compensation. In a statement, it says this: a man accused of rigorously reported allegations of harassment should not be rewarded with a golden parachute. Moonves has denied these allegations first reported in the New Yorker. A spokesperson for CBS Corporation declined to comment on this today.
Now, that was the first person that I heard making an accusation against him was Ileana Douglas. She said that back in '96, he pulled a lot of crap, tried to get her to bed, and then tried to blackball her. So that's, again, the typical MO, just like Weinstein. I don't know if you know who Les Moonves is. So he's a real, and I'm not saying this flippantly or lightly, but Les Moonves is a sick individual. Not only because he sexually harasses women and then threatens to ruin them, but he doesn't care about anything but money. And the guy, by the way, they're going to give him $100 million. Hey, if you get caught sexually harassing somebody, they give you $100 million. You don't go to prison. You don't get stuff taken away from you. So if you're white and rich and you get caught doing horrible stuff, they'll give you $100 million. So here's why I say this about that he's a garbage person. Now again, I don't say that lightly. Les Moonves, and why do I say that? Well, do you remember during the run-up to the 2016 election, we were here saying that it seemed like the DNC and the media were unfairly screwing over Bernie, and they were propping up Donald Trump. They gave him $2 billion worth of free media. You know why Trump was president? People whack their finger at me, a guy, the jack on YouTube. Meanwhile, every network in the world was doing the Pied Piper theory, propping Trump up, showing his empty podium for hours at a time. People with huge platforms. The guy who owns CBS, you want to hear what he had to say about it? Here's what he had to say.
The number one word is political.
So if you can't hear, it's hard to hear, but he starts off by saying, in local, meaning local news, the number one is political, meaning it gets the big views. Here we go.
In local, the number one word is political. You know, and man, who would have expected the ride we're all having right now? This is pretty amazing, and who would have thought that this circus would come to town? But
so what he's saying is, boy, this has been great, but political ads are really a windfall profit for CBS. Who would have ever thought? And the circus has come to town, meaning Trump. And listen to what he says.
It may not be good for America, but it's damn good for CBS. That's all I got to say. So, what can I say?
It's not good for America, but we're making a lot of money. And the room laughs. That's a room full of the resistance. Hey, let's elect him, and then let's pretend we hate him. Hey, let's make all this money off him, just like Michelle Wolf said.
Yeah, when she said it. And you know what? They got kind of quiet when she said it.
Yes,
like,
they did.
Oh, it's an other telling the truth.
Yes, yeah. So here he is, giggling, room full of rich plutocrats. Guy's going to get $100 million for sexually harassing people. Giggling that he's inflicting Donald Trump on the United States. Giggling. There's more to this. What?
You know, the money's rolling in, and this is fun. We had it for 2 weeks ago. 14 million people on a Saturday night. You know, it's amazing. That's all I can say. Do you look at the Trump phenomenon as impacting ad spend? You can sell out the money. He's got a lot of free media as well. Yeah, he's getting a lot of free media, but all that's happening out there's a lot of money in the marketplace. There's a lot of money in the marketplace. And sure, Donald, talking about issues, they're throwing bombs at each other, and I think the advertising reflects that. Most of the ads are not about issues. They're sort of like the debate. He did this or he did that. It doesn't say what I stand for. It's, it is. I've never seen anything like this. And, this is going to be a very good year for us.
Again, they all laugh. I've never seen anything like this, but it's going to be a very good year for us. And the whole room laughs, and so does he. It gets better.
Sorry. It's a terrible thing to say, but bring it on, Donald. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's a terrible thing to say. I've said it like 5 times so far, but it's terrible.
I'm going to say it one more time. This is a horrible thing for our country, but goddamn, we're making so much money, and we're such megalomaniacs that's all that really matters to us, which is why we're all giggling as the Rome is burning. So now do you see why you have Donald Trump? But a lot of dumb motherfuckers will still wag their finger at a jagoff nightclub comedian on YouTube. This is a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars, controlling one of the 5 media companies in the goddamn world, in the country. But keep wagging your finger at Jill Stein and Jimmy Dore, people I'm used to. Like, you don't feel stupid when you do that. That's just beyond me that you don't feel stupid. But they're never. I've never heard one of those people who wag their finger at me ever wag their finger at Les Moonves ever, or Chris Hayes for doing the same thing, or Rachel Maddow, or Lawrence O'Donnell, or Chris Matthews. I've never seen them wag their finger at those people for doing the exact same thing Les Moonves doing. So the people with actual power, they never hold them accountable, and here he is. I mean, if there's a bigger piece of shit than the guy that I just played for you right now, I'd like to see it. To me, that guy's worse than Trump. Because he knows better, and he's fucking doing it anyway. Why? For money. You think Trump is scummy? What do you call that guy? What do you call that guy? That guy's the scum of the earth. What's lower than that guy? He's a sexual harasser, doesn't give a shit that his country's going on the tube, and that he's using his media outlet, one of the most powerful media outlets in the world, to push something that's bad for our country because it makes him money. That's like selling rat poison to babies if you make enough money. That's who this guy is. Now, maybe they'll say this is targeted harassment. Who knows? But I'm telling the truth about Les Moonves. He's a giant piece of shit. He's a scumbag extraordinaire. and I just played for you why it is. But everybody, they're going to give him $100 million. The guy was already a piece of shit before this. No, that audio's been out there. How come they don't play that every day on Rachel Maddow? How come they don't play that every day on Chris Hayes? How come they don't play that every day on the CBS Morning Show? How come Chris Cuomo doesn't play that about how the media propped up Donald Trump and laughed about it all the way to the bank? And we wag our finger at YouTube comedians. We call them conspiracy theorists, even though we're going to push every war and already have. So,
JQLLC says, Jimmy, Les's golden parachute should be shot down by drones.
The guy should be in fucking prison. And instead, they're going to give him $100 million. I mean, look what he did to this country. He doesn't care. But Stephen Colbert loves this guy. He does.
Before the break, I was over there.
Can you turn it up in the room? Can you turn it up in the room?
Before the break, I was over there. Made a few jokes about my boss being in trouble. And are we still broadcasting? You know what? Don't tell me I like a surprise. And here's the thing. We're coming up on 1 year of general awareness of the Me Too movement. And I think that milestone is worth celebrating. But it's hard to think of an appropriate anniversary gift when the entire Amazon wish list is just, stop it! By the way, women who wanted to stop it also searched for justice. And women over the past year have felt empowered to tell their stories in ways they haven't before, which is an objectively good thing. Because, and it's strange to have to say this, powerful men taking sexual advantage of relatively powerless employees are wrong. We know it's wrong now, and
hey, I can't wait to hear how they scream when he says rape is bad. It's like, yes, taking advantage of someone's sex, yes, that's wrong. What the F? Like, that needed stating? Like, that's weird I think that's weird that kind of keeps things. But anyway.
And we knew it was wrong then. And how do we know we knew it was wrong then? Because we know these men tried to keep the stories from coming out back then. I don't remember.
So that's what people say about Louis C.K., because he was lying about it even after Tig Notaro was talking about it in the press. And then he threw her under the bus by saying, I don't know why she's saying those things. So, if some people love to say about Louis C.K., well, he always asked first, and it was this and that, and it wasn't that bad. And, well, if he didn't think it was wrong, why did Louis lie about it constantly? So, that's what he's saying here, too.
I don't remember any ads in Variety saying, congratulations to me on all the butt I'm groping. That said, and this is obviously naive on a certain level, the revelations and accusations of the past year, just in the entertainment industry alone, have been shocking. To me, to many of the women I know, it has brought a welcome sense of relief that something's finally happened. Now, as a middle-aged guy with some power in the entertainment industry, I may not be the ideal person to address this kind of systemic abuse. Who am I to judge? I'm a Catholic. Still.
Well put, by the way. Well, I really like that point. First of all, it's hilarious that he's a Catholic. That's just funny. You're a comedian and you're a Catholic and you're part of... The whole point of comedy, for me, is that you stick your finger in the eye of authority because you see through it. You stick your eye you stick your finger in the eye of authority and the powerful and dogma and groupthink. Comedy is the antidote to all that shit. So when I find like people, comedians who are religious, not spiritual, but religious, it's just kind of weird to me. It's not your own thoughts; it's someone else's thoughts, and you take, it's all misinterpreting the Bible, and it's amazing. And by the way, the Catholic Church is a fucking criminal organization that actively harbors pedophiles. It's not that there's pedophiles in the Catholic Church, it's that the people at the top of the church then harbor them. They don't turn them over to it, and then they lobby their legislatures to make it hard to bring those people to justice. That's what the Catholic Church right now is using your money to pay lobbyists to make sure that they don't change the law that makes it okay to bring priests to justice. Right now, the Catholic Church is using the money that he gives them, and if you're a Catholic and you go and you give money, they're taking that money and giving it to a lawyer to protect a raper, a child raper, or a lobbyist to protect a child raper. That's what the Catholic Church is doing with your fucking money. And so the fact that that doesn't bother him, he's still a Catholic, that's just fucking mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. And say what you want about Sam Harris, and I do all the time, but when he talks about religion, pretty much, especially Christianity, he is right on. He really dismantles everything perfectly. That's why I was a big fan of his for a long time. So anyway, let's go back to this.
And when I go to confession, I have things to confess. First, that I don't go to confession. And that I just lied to you for a bit. But this weekend, some people asked me, probably because I work here, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know. I don't know who does know. In a situation like this, I'd normally call Wes. But over the past year,
in a situation like this, he normally calls the head of the network, Les Moonves, a guy worth a couple of $100 million.
That's not an applicable approach in this case. No, it wouldn't make sense to do here.
No. Maybe because right now Les is out cheering on another Trump somewhere else.
There's been a lot of discussion about whether the disappearing of the accused from public life is the right thing to do. And I get there should be levels of response. But I understand why that disappearing happens. Because there's a JFK quote that I like, and I cite a fair amount on this show, and it's that those who make peaceful revolution impossible make violent revolution inevitable. And for so long, for women in the workplace, there was no change, no justice for the abused. So we shouldn't be surprised that when the change comes, it comes radically. This war is just a natural backlash to all that silence. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do believe in accountability. And not just for politicians who disagree with. Everybody believes in accountability until it's their guy. And make no mistake, Les Moonves is my guy. He hired me to sit in this chair. He stood behind this show while we were struggling to find our voice. He gave us the time and the resource.
He stood behind this show and pinched its ass.
He gave it a back rub.
He stood behind this show and
to succeed, and he has stood by us when people were mad. I like work, but accountability is meaningless unless it's for everybody, whether it's the leader of a network or the leader of the free world. We'll be right back.
So that's his big. So that's what he thinks of it. And just so you know about Les Moonves, there are 1,500 newspapers in America, 1,100 magazines, 9,000 radio stations, and 1,500 TV stations, and 2,400 publishers owned by 6 corporations, and 272 executives. That they control 90% of what 277 million Americans see here. 272 executives, 6 corporations. That's from Mint Press News. So there you go. That's all you need to know. I don't know what else you need to know about Les Moonves, or who to hold responsible for Trump. How about MSNBC, who gave him a TV show for how long was that show? Was show on the air, and as he's running around race baiting the president, asking for his long form birth certificate, and NBC gave him a show, but still somehow I'm more powerful than that. It's just hilarious to me. The misdirected anger over Trump is one of the things that really excites people's lizard brains, and they can't think straight. And a lot of people. And so I do have, my standard, my allegiance to the truth is higher than my hatred for Trump. So let me throw it over to you. Any last thoughts about? And by the way, I love Stephen Colbert's comedy. I don't like the show he does now. I'm not a big fan of that format at all.
I miss him as the character.
I
really do.
It was one of the finest comedy shows in the history of the world when he did the Colbert Report was just magnificent. And now he's doing this show. I'm sure it brings him some kind of joy. It's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, he was more harder. He was harder hitting too when he was being that character.
Of course,
he was really, peeling back the layers. And now
he's like a hashtag resistance. He thinks Trump's the problem and not the system that gave us Trump. The whole thing.
Anytime I watched Colbert, I found it to be like this education and comedy.
Like his old show.
Yeah.
It
Colbert.
was.
I mean, you just couldn't get over how fast he was in just like his quipping back and forth with his interviews and like how you're able to keep that point of view and that through line. I just thought it was terrific, and I don't ever see it rerun anymore. I don't even know if you can get it.
Sure, it's out there somewhere. I'd still love to do stand-up on the show, though. So.
Right? All right, let's do some questions right now, shall we? I left off at about 2:24 in the afternoon, where my last questions. No, we actually found out it was what? Something. What was your shirt? Mineral red. Nobody calls anything mineral red.
The bubblegum was a hell of a guess.
Your dog is following you. Come to Detroit.
Love Detroit. Love Detroit.
Are we looking at Detroit? Ann Arbor.
Motor City.
All right. So this one, new book reveals Trump wanted to assassinate Assad. Brett Kavanaugh thinks birth control is abortion. Do you think things are darkest before things get better? No. I think they just keep getting worse. Like smog.
Hence the I'm miserable tag.
Yes. This feels like 1940 with the fall of Paris. Boy. You know, when you look at Europe and the destruction that World War II did, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I think as far as the United States go, we're very much mirroring like the kind of Great Depression-esque atmosphere that led to the labor movement. And they're saying that's reflected in the left right now. Like the left right now is looking a lot like kind of the labor movements of back then. And another thing I liked that you can't help but notice as far as history repeating itself, McCarthyism played a big role in taking down that labor movement.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's a connection that I think Boots Riley pointed that out recently. And
it immediately makes
a lot of parallels going on, is what I'm saying.
One great documentary, if you haven't caught it already, I talk about this, is the one with Howard Zinn, It's Hard to Get Off a Moving Train. I think that's the name of it. And, they talk about how he was going to go to this labor strike, or not a strike, but they were going to go ahead and protest in the towns, like in New York, and you would see the police on horseback terrorizing the protesters. Some things don't change.
Mm-hmm.
So you still see that. You still see how the police force are used as thugs to disrupt any kind of protest that the American people want. So that's historic. And also they talk about how the CIA or those intelligent communities infiltrate. So, all right, let's go back to Joseph. All right. Oh, we read that one. Super Future Trunks. Tell Abby. I know, she deserves a statue of herself right next
Abby
to
Martin.
the Statue of Liberty. She's an amazing hero in my eyes, and all the work she's done. Much love. We will pass that on to her. Stephanie, we got your handle. Thank you very much. Love to come to San Francisco. You're right. We got to come to San Francisco. Back to
Thanks,
you. Anything
Bill.
there?
I think we got to
We're
wait
gonna
for Jimmy for the rest of these. Yeah, they're kind of.
You need to do a story on Nestle complained to Aussie government about following anti-slavery requirements and whined about losing money. Great topic. Thank you.
Yeah, Nestle is doing a lot of shady stuff here in the States as well. So.
Sparky, thank you very much. And yes, we'll mention to Jimmy about, instead of saying third party, we should talk about replacement party. I think that's interesting. King Tundra, merch idea, bumper sticker that says, I get my news from a nightclub comedian. Great.
That's
with the
cool.
Jimmy Dore Show logo on it and the URL on the bottom. I'd buy it. Thank you. You know what? I'm going to pass that along because we finally found out somebody who does stickers. And so that'll be something. I get my news from a nightclub comedian. Hilarious. Cool Blue. What breeds the dog? Cool Blue. I mentioned it. He is a mix between a Chihuahua and a miniature pinscher. They call them Pinwawas. All right.
100% badass.
Right? You want to read a couple?
Sure. Got my first, this is from Raymond, thank you. Got my first Movement for a People's Party email from Nick this week. Working with others, developing person-to-person handout for People's Party platform. Their website is up and running. Glad to hear it, and thank you for doing that.
You just talked about that. Thank you for the heads up on that.
It's funny, it made me laugh. Let's quit BSing ourselves, said Jedi Mullet, which I love your name. That's awesome. Jedi Mullet. Better than a regular mullet. It trains for many years to reach the status of Jedi Mullet. It can play Iron Maiden on request. I don't know. Let's quit BSing ourselves. It's not a blue wave. It's a yellow piss on us wave. Let's see. George.
Yes.
Let's keep them honest. Jimmy, love you guys. FYI, Obama said he would honor Puerto Rico's choice on statehood. Puerto Rico voted 65% yes, and Obama did nothing.
Oh, are we surprised that Obama sounded so virtuous and then did nothing to help or pass or forward any kind of agenda that helps the people? Oh, so depressing. Oh my God. Hey Ron.
Hey Ron. Can you can be like Huey Long and make an oil co like Standard Oil your biatch. I think that's what they're going for there. I'm not sure. I'm still not going to do it from office. Not going to do it from office. Did Brownie retire already? Absolutely not. Brownie's working hard.
He's working very hard.
Brownie's the glue here. All right.
I love that. Tom Shipman says Jimmy Dore is a great comedian. Saw his specials. I'll pass it along as soon as he comes back. I think he's making a coffee. I voted Trump, and I love your show, Jimmy. You know what's interesting? We have family members that have voted for Trump, and they love Jimmy. So it's complicated, this world. All right. Imad Arandi, please be careful. YouTube is suggesting lizard people videos to me under you and Lee Camp's videos. Twitter banned Alex Jones because he said a CNN guy is enemy of the people. And after the CEO is going to Congress, shit is real. Thank you, Imad. You want to do this one? This is great.
This is from Jeff over Citizens Media. Regarding your Pelosi Pago video, national deficits are the American people's income. If we don't have national deficits, the people will have any more income. They will therefore be pressured into using ... We wait in anticipation. But I'll also point out that we quoted Stephanie Kelton on that video and have been in contact with her about doing an interview to unpack a little more. So.
And, just a little heads up for those of you who tune into Aggressive Progressive on Tuesdays at Pacific Standard Time at noon till 2 o'clock. And then if you're a member, you can see the whole live stream. Stephanie Kelton is our guest this Tuesday. So if you're able to tune in, we'll see her at the Aggressive Progressives, and then we'll still be trying to reach out to her to get her on this show as well. Would Jimmy consider doing more coming to Mythgun? What is this? Do you know that?
I don't know. I think that might be. I'm not sure. I don't know what that's referencing.
Do you spell things with a lisp? I don't know.
I think that might be a. It might be a joke, or if it's a real.
Okay, then we're gonna go. We're gonna go to MythCon.
We're doing it.
We're there. All right. Let's go with. So I'm gonna ask Jimmy this about the Montana Democrats. Have you heard anything about this?
I heard that at one point a green, like a right winger, infiltrated the Greens in Montana. I did hear about that. I don't know if this sounds like something different. Montana Democrats are trying to throw the Greens off the ballot. I have not heard about that. The Republican that tried to infiltrate the Greens, that happened a while ago.
Okay. Let's see. You know what, Bethany? I responded, you mentioned about putting more of our live shows, all of them, for our Patreons, and also that then if you're out of state or out of country, you'd have more access. That the live show is a wild beast to cover, by the way, to edit it and put it up, and we're trying the best we can. And you know what? Those live shows, we're not at the point where we're going to release everything all at once, because that experience is hard to capture. But, eventually I think if we would like to do that. I mean, honestly, the goal would be if we could do these live shows every week, and that would be our content, and that's what we'd air. That would be, lots of fun. So I guess we're trying to do that. Burson Edemir, enough is enough. You have to come to Europe, at least to Germany. I would be happy to help you all that we can to Europe. Don't accept any excuses. All right, you got it. We do. And, when you mentioned Germany,
Germany's so cool. Berlin's one of my favorite places in the world. I love that city so freaking much. Love that place.
Thank you, Burson. Thanks for your generosity. That's really nice that you're saying, gotta come. And I will not take no for an answer. All right, Sherman, thoughts on Assadist index? We'll look into that. I think Jimmy already responded a little bit what he thinks is going to happen in Syria. Do all Chatterday proceeds go exclusively to the Jimmy Dore Show? Yes. So we learned that although we're on the Young Turks platform, the solid chats, the super chats rather, that goes into our show, into our production studio. Let's go with Diffuse. Thank you. Shit heating up in Syria right now, and a lot of people on YouTube covering it, being censored. You're right, Michael. I know, even when we've covered things that MSNBC has covered, we get demonetized. So we'll see what we covered this week. I'm an independent. Do you believe more Americans are turning away from both parties? Yes.
Yeah, there's stats out there showing that is the case. Especially younger people, they're very disenfranchised by both parties. They're wanting to be independents more. The Democrats are, even with such an unpopular president like President Trump, the Democrats are still bleeding numbers.
Right.
They're losing people constantly. So yeah, there's a lot of disenfranchisement with the system. It's what actually got Trump elected.
Yes, it did get him elected. You're right. Okay, Jimmy, I can't thank you enough for what you do to keep the lights on in America. You are one of the brightest. Thanks, Steph, Ron, and Brownie, too.
Thanks, Brownie.
I think we're one of the brightest lights.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Jimmy Dean, hiya. Can you get Stephen Kinzer, author of Overthrow, on to talk about the many stories of Overthrow? Also, Patreon is not accepting my purchase of the JDS show, so I will super chat it. That's crazy. I'm not sure. We've noticed some things over the last month with Patreon that we're trying to figure out. So
Patreon seems to be a little glitchy, actually. So please, we appreciate your patience, and we're looking into things. But yeah, if you're having a problem like that, I'm sorry. You can always send a direct donation. A lot of people do to our PO box, which is
1443 East Washington Boulevard, number 135, Pasadena, California, 91104. And you can always go to JimmyDoreComedy.com, and you'll find the address there.
Okay, so it's What is it again?
1443 East Washington Boulevard, number 135, Pasadena, California, 91104.
Okay.
Attention, Jimmy Dore Show. Citizens Media said, quote, blow a hole in the deficit, exclamation mark, end quote, equals, we must stop giving the people value. We just need to stop funneling it all to the 1%. You're right, Citizens Media TV. Trina wants to let you know, Jimmy, that Trina voted for Trump and shares your videos all over.
Well, I appreciate that.
Raymond did guess taffy or bubblegum. Love your show. Check out Andrew Yang. He actually is running for president in 2020 as a progressive. Mike Sanders says, Jimmy, I'm with you. Jimmy, mixing weed and tobacco is gross. By the way, Bush was a cokehead. Right, okay.
Yeah. And Bush was a cokehead.
And Bush was a cokehead, by the way. Jimmy, I'm a Trump supporter and a volunteer on John Faso's congressional campaign, but absolutely love your show. Keep speaking up for what is right.
Whose campaign?
John Faso's.
Or John Faso, yeah.
Who's John Faso? You know who that is?
No, I don't know who that is. Yeah, I'm trying right now.
Thank you, Chris. This is from Matthew. Elon announces privatizing Tesla at $4.20 a share, taking Ambien and has problems in Spokespot. The stock is at $2.20, but he acts out to get real cheap and real quick, goes private, and PR bullshit. Interesting. Thank you. That was from Matthew. Jimmy, anytime you're ready, I've got a couple things.
He's a Republican in D.C.
Oh, okay.
John Faso, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin.
I'd like to do one more story, if
Sure.
we can, real quick. So you've heard about Les Moonves. He's the head of CBS, and he's now going to get kicked out of the company. When I say kicked out, they're going to give him $100 million. Oh, my God. Because
That'll show him.
That'll show him. Because he got caught sexually harassing people, and now people are coming forward to talk about it. And I played for you in another clip. It showed you why Les Moonves is really a douche. And it was because he was cheering on Donald Trump's rise. And literally, we have him in the recording. I played it because it made him a lot of money. It made CBS a lot of money. And he said, it's bad for America, but it's good for CBS. So keep going, Donald. And they all laughed. So those are 100 millionaires who don't care that they're wrecking the country as long as they can even make more money. And now you know, and here's another reason why he's a garbage person, Les Moonves. Exclusive, Les Moonves was obsessed with ruining Janet Jackson's career, sources say. Because of her, remember they had the wardrobe malfunction in the 2004
I
Super
just had
Bowl?
one right now.
So what happened was Justin Timberlake was supposed to rip off a thing, and it actually ended up exposing her whole breast, and they said it was an accident. One thing that allies and critics of Les Moonves, the CEO and chairman of CBS, agree on is that he tends to remember who his enemies are and exact revenge on them on his terms. Sounds like Trump. Doesn't that sound like Trump? That kind of sounds like Trump. From actors to entertainment lawyers, people who ended up on the wrong side of Les Moonves would often become his target for years after they upset him. One target of Moonves' ire and vengefulness, according to multiple sources, was Janet Jackson. Jackson became a year-long fixation for Moonves after the so-called wardrobe malfunction of 2004, when her breast was exposed for 9/16 of a second. So, half a second, her boob was exposed. After Justin Timberlake tore a piece of fabric off her bustier during their Super Bowl halftime performance. CBS and MTV, a subsidiary of Viacom, the parent company of CBS at the time, which produced the halftime show, faced a torrent of criticism and a $550,000 Federal Communications Commission fine. Oh my God. Moonves, however, was convinced it wasn't a malfunction, but rather an intentional bid to stir up controversy. Moonves has been open about the fact that the incident caused him embarrassment, and he told sources who spoke to me that Jackson, in his mind, was not sufficiently repentant.
Why wasn't he mad at Justin Timberlake?
Well, here it comes.
Oh, good question.
Moonves banned Jackson and Timberlake from 2004 Grammy broadcast airing on CBS the week after the Super Bowl. But Timberlake was allowed to perform after he tearfully apologized for the incident, according to conversations Moonves had with my sources. So that would be why, Ron. Because Justin Timberlake came on bended knee. Please, sir, please, I apologize. Please don't hurt my recording career. I have music. I'm supposed to be on the Grammys. So did you see how two of the most powerful people in music have to bend on their knee to a piece of shit like Les Moonves because of media consolidation? Do you see how this works? The CBS chief executive, according to sources who spoke to me, was furious that Jackson didn't make a similarly contrite apology to him. That's why.
Wow.
The fallout
from
that's a sociopath. The fallout from the incident inflicted significant damage on Jackson's career, which until that point had produced 10 number one hits and still reverberates to this day. Moonves ordered Viacom properties, meaning VH1 and MTV, and all Viacom-owned radio stations. That's a lot. Because CBS radio. There's only 3 radio stations, 3 radio companies left. Viacom, Infinity, and iHeartRadio. Used to be called Clear Channel.
Mm-hmm.
So that means a third of all radio stations in the country, at least. Moonves ordered Viacom properties, VH1 and MTV, and all Viacom-owned radio stations to stop playing Jackson's songs and music videos. The move had a huge impact on sales of her album, To Meet a Joe, which was released in March of 2004, just a month after the Super Bowl. 7 years after the 2004 incident, Moonves told several sources he was furious when he found out Jackson had signed a book deal with Simon & Schuster for her book True You, A Journey to Finding and Loving Yourself. Simon & Schuster is owned by CBS. How the fuck did this slip through? Moonves asked while recounting the story to a source who spoke to me. He told another source that heads were going to roll as a result of that deal. Sounds like Weinstein. Doesn't it sound like he's trying to ruin a woman's career because she crossed him? And he has the power to do so, so he does it. This guy tweeted out, everything about this piece about Les Moonves' crusade against Janet Jackson is disgusting and just demonstrates how dangerous it is when only a few companies own most of the media.
Thanks, Clinton.
And that's thanks to Bill Clinton and the 1996 Telecommunications Act, which took 50 companies that owned all the media in America and took it down to 6, thanks to Bill Clinton. And right now, there are 1,500 newspapers, 1,100 magazines, 9,000 radio stations, 1,500 TV stations, and 2,400 publishers owned by 6 corporations and run by 272 executives. That's what you get in America, thanks to Bill Clinton and the Telecommunications Act of 1996. So there's Les Moonves, going after Janet Jackson. So now we've got this guy being a piece of shit 3 different ways. Him first cheering on Donald Trump's rise, even though he said it's bad for America, but it's good for CBS's profits. So go, Donnie. That's a megalomaniac. That's a sociopath. He knows it's bad for America, but he's already a $100 millionaire, and somehow he wants more money. He doesn't want the more money so he can do good. He just wants the more money. And if it comes by ruining the country or propping up a right-wing strongman, he doesn't care. So if it was, if it was Mussolini in Italy, he would be like, yeah, Mussolini's bad for us, but hey, fascism pays, baby. So that way he's a piece of shit. He sexually harassed, we know for Eliana Douglas, and 5 other people now are saying it. 5 women have come forward, and now that's why they're going to give him $100 million. If you fuck up big enough, they give you $100 million. And so, and the third way is that Janet Jackson, what he did to Janet Jackson. That's the third way this guy's a piece of it.
So, media, corporations, commercials, all of them use the woman's body to be objectified and exaggerated so you'll buy their product. The same time that this incident happened, NFL. Carl's Jr. was running those ads time and time again with
Right.
the woman eating the burger, and it was so messy and dirty, and
Yeah.
drip all over. And it was like she was.
Remember that?
Yes.
Those
that
are
was
commercials.
constant.
That
You know,
was
how many car ads do you see with a woman, she's spread on top of the car? So you're like, that's a great vehicle. Maybe I should buy that. So is it that she showed her nipple without permission
Yes.
from
Yes.
Bez?
Yes.
That's it.
So apparently Sipowicz can show his ass on ABC in prime time, but a half a second of a nipple of a black woman was to beyond the pale. I don't know if you Sipowicz from the NYPD Blue. That was the big. No,
That was like
that was like 20 years ago now.
yeah, that's last century.
Yeah, that's probably like last century.
It was the turn of the century.
That was like it was a big deal that they were showing naked asses. Remember that? To me, Sipowicz's ass is much more offensive than Janet Jackson's perfect chocolate nipple.
One of our viewers says nipples are worse than war.
Thank
you, Alexandra. So you should know.
So this is why you need to become a patron if you want. If you want to help support this show. And
somebody says he's getting $180 million.
They probably are. I mean, he's already worth more money than he could ever spend.
So let's give him a bunch more, and then it'll go away. Justice.
Yeah. So he's got. Well, how old is Les Moonves? Is he 70-some years old already? I think he's 70, maybe.
He's gonna be. Yeah, I'd imagine.
So what has he got? Tops. He's got tops. 25 years left of his life, and they're going to give him $100 million.
He's actually only 68.
68. So it's still. He's got about 30 years left tops on his life. So if he spent $1 million every year, he could spend $3 million a year and still have $10 million left over.
And I thought I remembered this right, but you didn't see anything. She actually had a pasty on.
Yeah, there was a pasty on.
Was there?
I happen to remember there was.
I don't remember.
There was a pasty.
He was
on.
11 years old, and he was like, "Mom,
I was older than that.
What was that, sweetheart? It was a pasty."
Exactly how it happened.
Was that the same time you were high on the couch?
No, I wasn't that young.
So somebody says, Stargrave says, Janet sue CBS. Yeah, right?
She should sue him now that she knows this. Well, you have to prove it.
He should have given her an apology.
Yeah, no kidding.
One from her. What's wrong with you?
And well, that's what these guys. This is what it's like when you have a few. This is what it's like when you have only a few men, a few people running all your media. And right now, we're handling over. People, even on the left, are super willing to hand over the censorship of social media to unelected Silicon Valley billionaires, just like this Nick. Just like Les Moonves. That's what you guys want making this decision? Yes, they do. They're okay with it. And by the way, YouTube just got rid of a couple of pro-Syrian YouTube channels. They just got rid of them. That just happened. Why? Sounds like they're getting ready to invade Syria. You don't think that social media companies are working hand in hand with the government? Then you're naive, because they are. And just as Julian Assange said, the censorship will come from the corporation. The corporation is the state. Anyway, any other
textbook fascism?
Textbook fascism. Do we have any more questions?
Well, yeah, we sure do, Jimmy.
All right, let's get to the questions.
You got some Patreon questions for this man?
Yeah, here, let's do some from the Patreon. This is one from Tommy. Hi, Jimmy. Loving the show from the UK. Have you seen plans from the UK government to fast-track fracking wells to make it easy putting up a conservatory? We also have the world's largest fracking company, Linos, taking the National Trust to court because it rejected plans for seismic surveys to be taken in the heart of Sherwood Forest, which, as Tommy points out, the legendary home of Robin Hood, and Clumber Park, a renowned park in the East Midlands. Are you familiar with any of this?
I am not familiar with that. This is the first time hearing about anything over there about fracking. That's for sure.
I know they got their issues with fracking too, but yeah, this is my first time hearing about this specifically. We'll look into it, Tommy, and I'm all about protecting Sherwood.
I got from Pam, too, Time Warner buffering YouTube every 4 minutes in Ohio. But I got a lot of people saying all over the country and the world that they didn't have any buffering problems. P. Bass says, the wise words of Nate Dogg, smoke weed every day. Trendy as Dabbers Pro Canada's channel is Ben Shader on Facebook. And then this is from Sly Goose 77. Can you cover legislation against loot boxes in video games? Governor Chris Lee in Hawaii will probably come on to talk about it. The hate on Elon Musk is ridiculous. Thank you, Goose 77.
What are loot boxes?
No idea.
We'll look that up. All right.
We'll look that up. Come on.
What do you got, big guy?
Jimmy, what are your thoughts on abrupt climate change in Dr. Guy McPherson of Nature Bats?
I don't know.
Got to look into that. I'm not familiar with Guy's work directly.
I don't know. This is the first I heard of him.
Jimmy, what do you think about nuclear fusion?
What do I think about it?
Yeah, I mean, those some of the
I'm all for it.
Greetings from Spain. Sorry, but off topic. Just a quick thought. We have a Francisco Franco Association which praises the dictator and giant mausoleum where the son of a bitch rests in peace. Both get money from our taxes. I think it's a shame. Any thoughts? That's from Sasha.
No, I don't have any thoughts.
Well, I guess, that's a museum, but here in America, we're paying for a bunch of war. And our thought is, we don't want war, we want peace. And they're using lots of our money while they're tons and tons of Americans that could do with healthcare and affordable housing. The guys in Chatki of launching nukes for smoking weed at the beginning of the movie War Games. By the way, replacement party, not third party. Got it, Sparky. Back to you.
All right, this is from Lance. Love what you're doing, Jimmy and Steph, and your recent coverage with Jank in Massachusetts. Jank brings up the blue wave. What do you think about the blue wave?
I pushed back against it on that show. If you were watching, I pushed back against Jank saying that.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, now I'm not as gregarious or boisterous on that show as I am on my show. But what I did say to Jank and Johnny was, so what do you say to the people, and I'm one of the people who say this, that they've only, people who say it's going to be a progressive takeover, they've only primaried successfully one corporate Democrat, which is Joe Crowley. And I don't remember exactly what Jenk said back to that, but it was, like, no, this is how it happens. And they start to give the number of all the primaries that Justice Democrats and Our Revolution and all these have. I go, yeah, but most of those are in red state or in red districts. They're not going to win. And we still have Nancy Pelosi who's doing PAYGO. With Nancy Pelosi who's doing frickin' PAYGO. I mean, that's just, there's no way that, anyway. So, that's what we already had that push back and forth. So that's, again, I hope I'm wrong, by the way. And it wouldn't be good for me. I would have egg on my face a little bit, but how does a party get reformed from the inside? Is there evidence of this happening in the past? From what I understand, it mostly comes when you have to have an outside influence. When people get their head out of their ass and stop saying stupid things like, "Why don't those Green Party people just vote Democrat?" That's not how it works. You're supposed to say, "Why don't those Democrats do something to appeal to those fucking Green people because they need them to win?" That's how it's supposed to work. And you guys have it exactly ass backwards. So I don't know how I got started on that.
Well, so the last Patreon question, more simple one. When's the European tour happening?
No kidding. I feel horrible about all this stuff. We're going to get on it, and we're going to, I need to get an agent to take care of this because we're just not good enough at it. That's all. But we're definitely going to come. My friend Alan Havey was just over there at the Edinburgh Festival, and then he went to Kilkenny and did comedy there, or Cork, wherever that is. I don't know.
Loot boxes is basically gambling in video games.
Oh, okay.
FYI. Love the show. Thanks for being a voice of reason. Thank you, Ethan. Joseph, Chris Hedges went on MSNBC, JD.
When?
I don't know, but Joseph Ballin doesn't tell me that part.
When? Whose show? And they let him talk? You gotta be crazy.
They said, "Look me in the eye."
Jacob Brooks wants to know, what's your number one fear, Jimmy? Because he's 22 years old and afraid of vomiting. Haven't done it since 3rd grade. You?
Good on you, Jacob. Because I actually did most of my vomiting when I was your age.
What's my biggest fear? Oh, not reaching my full potential.
There you go.
Not on an interview.
Oh, this is an interview?
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, okay. Well, I guess my biggest flaw is I'm really a stickler for attention to detail, and I kind of put too much. I take on too much work, and I work too much and too hard. Are you gonna hire me? Do people actually say shit like that in interviews? I'm like, that's
sure.
what you're supposed to say, right?
Yeah.
So what's your biggest flaw? Well, my biggest flaw is I'm always on time and it annoys people. I work harder than everyone else and they resent me.
Sometimes I'm too thorough in my follow-up emails with everybody that I need to be.
My biggest flaw is I don't cut out enough time for my personal life. I just all about work.
I care too much about the company in most cases.
My biggest flaw is I'm always putting the company in front of my own needs. Even when I had a kid, I didn't care. I didn't go to his baseball games. I don't even know what grade he's in.
I don't know his name.
But I got one. I got a kid.
Bernie O'Guillotine wants to know, why are people shocked by Elon Musk smoking weed? Are we talking about the guy that is drilling tunnels below LA, launching cars into space, and developing sentient AI? More surprised, he doesn't stay higher than giraffes. Pussy. Oh, that took a turn.
That's an issue.
Boy, I was high as a giraffe
I was like, pussy.
That's like a funny saying. I'm higher than a giraffe's pussy.
I mean, am I right?
Come
That's how
on.
high I am.
Oh.
Alan Amori, Jimmy, how does it feel being responsible for Trump, Gorsuch, Hitler, Stalin, Mao, and Mussolini?
Yeah, I guess with
Mussolini was you too. I knew about the other ones.
Yeah,
I didn't know Mussolini was you.
Mussolini?
I did Mussolini and I did Berlusconi too.
That was a hell of a weekend for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, there's something about me and the right wingers. I like propping them up and getting them to control countries. And I'm the guy to do it. If you're a right winger and you want to control a country, just talk to me.
He's taking applications now for 2020. There is an interview process. Do you put the company first?
What's your biggest flaw?
Alan, thank you very much for that question. Brian wants to know, why do we voluntarily allow these outrageous severance payments to be framed as golden parachutes, and now what they are is hush money?
Not with it, yeah.
It's all corruption. I love what Fran Lebowitz said. She said, you hear of these bankers making $400 million. Nobody makes $400 million. You steal $400 million. That's what I feel like Les Moonves is doing.
Hey, thank you, Orville, for your donation. Wilhelm, Jimmy is bigger than 2x2. We're all big. We're all big in our own minds. Tony Montana, can we laugh at Scripple's case together? Oh, wait, you just did. R.D. Patterson, Ron's hair is a Mihawk.
I'll take it.
Is that like a stop? What do you know about it?
It's like it's like a mohawk, but I'm like, hey, it's for me. It's my own very. I don't know.
It's for me. I like that. U.S. using live ammo in exercises in Syria. What could go wrong, Proudfoot? Thank you. Tyler Norton, if your country has sand, the U.S. will invade. Or has. Wow.
If you have oil.
Got Progressive SC. If they decide birth control is abortion, I'm going to the women's voluntary celibate movement, and no women will fuck any man ever again. Huh. Steph and Ron, where did you get your fantastic t-shirts? Thanks for asking.
Where did you get that t-shirt?
This is from Diane Little. She's a fan of the show.
Oh.
And she's local here in the LA area, and she's a Green Party activist. So she shared this with me, and I love it. It's my first time that I'm wearing it. Ronnie?
This is actually from my friend Pasa. This is a shirt from PM Press, a radical book publisher out in San Francisco. He got it for me when he was at a protest in Sacramento. Our community dresses us, and we like it.
Yes, it does.
Hey, do we have a t-shirt that says neoliberal sucks available?
Yes, it's already at our store.
That's awesome.
Has Jimmy covered the guy in Montana trolling the Trump rally yet? That was hilarious.
I was gonna cover that today. I didn't have enough time to put it together. Instead, I put together the Les Moonves segments. But yes, I am aware of it. It's a pretty cool story. Have you heard about that?
Yeah.
The guy standing behind Trump, when he says stuff, the guy makes faces.
Yeah.
The guy, Trump says, we're doing, our poll numbers are through the roof. And he goes, is that true? You'll see too like that. It's really fantastic.
And then they removed him,
And they removed him, yeah.
That's so funny. In hindsight, if you had to choose, who would you have voted for in 2008? Obama, Clinton, and why?
Dennis Kucinich.
Right. The naughty vegan, I don't know if I can make it, but keep 10-7-18 open for LA Reggae Vegan Fest at Woodley Park. Otherwise, Seattle one of these days. Question mark, exclamation mark, Jeff?
In retrospect, Hillary Clinton. It would have been better had she won in 2008 because she would have did the same stuff Barack Obama did, but people would have got sick of it a lot faster. And
what do you think would have happened in 2012?
She might have lost, and we might have gotten here with Mitt Romney instead of Barack Obama. And maybe, the whole thing is you need to get progressive control of some form of the government or some part thereof where they have to negotiate with us. Right now, they're completely, even a majority of Republicans are for single payer Medicare for all, and we ain't getting it. So, I think it would have been, but
So you think like if Hillary would have been the person in 08, we could have ripped a Band-Aid off a lot sooner.
And so now people wouldn't be saying, hey, we just had Hillary Clinton back. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, right? Even though people are saying that about George Bush too. So it couldn't have gone worse than what Barack Obama did. Barack Obama, legislating like a moderate Republican is what gave us Donald Trump. That's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question.
All right.
Will you be marked as a Russian bot channel just for getting Russian ruble donation? Tony, that is for us to worry about, not you.
But yes, they probably will use that. Prop or not, that bullshit organization, Prop or not, will use that. What?
My dog needs another bath.
Yeah?
Yeah, because of these fleas and his skin is irritated.
Well, we didn't get that stuff to spray in the backyard yet, right? The nematodes?
No, will you look at the nematodes right now? Pretty please, thank you. So the rest of, what's this?
The rest of that CMT was an underpaid CMT's.
7 parts. I think he's talking to you about something earlier. All right.
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right.
So it's that stuff you spray and it kills the fleas in your backyard. It's like
It's that email that we sent. Maybe one of those links. Understood, but would be appreciated even shorter sections from Bethany Hunt. Oh, I gotcha. I know about the live shows. I hear you, Bethany.
Thank you, Guitar and Ganja Geek. Those are cool things to be a geek about. Guitars and ganja. I like it.
Sarcasm Stardust, after your show on Presley, did you hear about Gillum in Florida being a friend to Israel and anti-BDS? Looks like Florida got Obama's between this and the Soros-Steyer stare.
I'm very skeptical of Gillum. I'm very skeptical of him because, again, he was a Hillary Clinton guy in 2016, and now all of a sudden he's, I think he's one of those guys who puts his finger in the wind and sees which way it's blowing. That's what it looks like. I've heard he's already backpedaling on Medicare for all. Have you heard that, Ron?
I've heard.
So I have to look into it. I don't know if that's for a fact, but I'll look into it.
So, speaking of, what's your thoughts on the California governor race? I don't trust Gavin. This is from Scromy. I don't trust Gavin Newsom or John Cox. I wish there was a progressive running.
I do too, but that's not how it works.
It's like the machinery was against anybody who was going to be for the people.
Well, we have a system. You can't even run third party in the general election if you wanted to. You have to run in the primary first, and then the top 2 people go to the general election. So you can't even run third party now in California. Isn't that wild? That's a way to get rid of it instead of ranked choice voting.
Australia loves you, Jimmy. Well, maybe not Rupert Murdoch, but most of us. I like that. That's funny.
But we love Australia.
For listeners, please explain power concedes nothing without a demand. Seems to be a lot of people who think a pendulum swing is going to fix it all.
Yeah. That's a great fucking point. What a great point. Who said that?
D. Scully?
Way to go, D. Scully. You're right. You're right. So again, instead of that's what we're talking about. They're not making a demand on power, the resistance. All the resistance is doing is we don't like Donald Trump, and the Democratic Party is not putting forward a platform which would be their list of demands. And that Bernie Sanders isn't leading a progressive organization that is demanding anything. Anyway. It's just
Gary R.
that's a great point.
Gary R. says, "Hey guys, did you know that Andrew Gillum is now walking back Medicare for all?"
Oh, see, that's what I just said. I've heard that too. I don't know if that's true, but we're going to look into it.
All right, good. All right, here we go. Tony Montana, JD, run for president 2020 and find this broadcast and charge him for Russian collusion. Mark my words.
Who said that?
This is from Tony Montana.
Oh, Tony Montana. Say hello to my little friend. My wife whose womb is so polluted.
Please consider interviewing Michael Sussman, Green Party candidate for New York's Attorney General. Very progressive. Thank you for the show. I heart Brownie. Thank you.
Oh, wow. This one's, all right. Jimmy, would you rather eat a donut launched in one of Chris Christie's sweaty belly rolls or slam your nuts with a hammer?
Hammer.
Choices! You go with hammer?
Hammer.
R.D. Patterson, we the people, W-E-E, the people trickle down economics.
Uh-oh.
It jumped.
Did you see that?
Yeah,
jump?
I saw that.
Man, that was a legit jump.
We're almost here.
It'll be a blue trickle at best, says Balthazar 228. It's a red trickle. If it's a red trickle, the U.S. might have kidney failure. We're on a time crunch. The Earth doesn't have 20 years to wait for a takeover of the party. That takes fuel money. That takes fossil fuel money. I agree. That's great. You're right. The Earth doesn't have 30 years to wait for this. So if you have to realize exactly what's happening, okay? So you can judge this anyway. I'm going to say it in a neutral way. Bernie Sanders is not calling for a revolution anymore. Bernie Sanders is calling for incremental change. That's a fact. That's what's happening. Because he's working inside the party. The party already has its leadership. Nancy Pelosi, she's going to be the leader. She already says they're going to do pay-go, which means you can't do anything progressive. So that's what's happening. So he's not calling for, and it sounds like, if you look at it, what he's doing now, when he was calling for a revolution, which is how he started every speech in the 2016 primary, sounds like you're ready for a revolution. That wasn't intellectually honest. What kind of a revolutionary endorses a corporatist warmonger your whole reason for running was that she was horrible? That's not a revolution. That's going along. That's doing the lesser of two evil voting. That's doing the exact same goddamn thing that we've been doing since 1980 that gave us fucking Trump. So these are just facts. All right, so next question.
They blamed Jill Stein for 2016. Did you know that if everyone who voted third party, only voted for a Dem or a Pleb, Trump would have won 45 states? ? Interesting. Balthazar, want to read that one?
Sure. I bet in 1000 AD, Byzantine Emperor Basil was complaining I don't get enough support from the millennial serfs. That's funny. And Sarandon is responsible. Let's see.
David Icke is the lizard people guy. The commentator was either a troll or wanted a clip of you talking about him. No doubt you're high. Who? On the ban list. That David Icke. We said that name earlier.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him. Check out Streamlabs. Yeah, I know we need to do that, Balthazar. But really appreciate the reminders. We do need to look into Streamlabs. Joe Rogan is largely independent. Influences my hands are salty.
Yeah, Brownie's enjoying your.
Joe Rogan is largely independent and influences many, many people. Do you think there's any way to get more leftist people on his show? He's happy to invite Stefan Molyneux, but not Chris Hedges? ?
I told him when I was on, I told him to get on Thomas Frank, who wrote Listen Liberal.
There you go.
I wanted to verify the pro-Syrian channels being taken down. I searched and see some up. How do you verify this? Can Arno? And then they wrote LOL. I'm not sure what they.
As in, of course he can. I mean, even asking the question is hysterical.
Emot said, ruble donations, you get banned. There is no hope. And then we talked about that. We're good. We can go here.
Did you cut off questions already?
Yeah, let's cut those questions off. It is 4:13.
All right, now we're
So
disappointed. Prophet's pointing out, disappointed. I know so many people who will applaud Trump when he attacks fill in the blank, as in when he attacks
exactly.
I know.
Exactly. Someone else pointed out the shift to the center about Andrew Gillum. They're saying he's using keywords like access and protecting ACA.
Oh, who said that?
We
Wayne
going
Goen
899.
Okay.
B. Waters points out Jordan Cheriton covered the Chris Hedges MSNBC.
Oh,
interview.
really?
Yeah, we gotta look into that. I didn't know he was on MSNBC.
I didn't know.
Either.
That's important.
So let's see here. Leslie Moonves is the great nephew of David Ben Gurion, murderer of hundreds of Palestinians, says William.
Oh, really? I wouldn't put it past it for him to be related to some jerk.
Cory Booker and Kamala Harris. Oh wow,
right
that happened right
there. We're good.
Real time. There we go. Cory Booker and Kamala Harris grandstanding for 2020. Yep, that's exactly what they're doing with this. That's exactly what they're doing. I think they're referencing the Kavanaugh thing.
Can you say Pentagon Papers? Stay strong, JD.
Always voting lesser of two evils always leave you wondering if the other evil was less evil.
Balthazar, if Democrats are asking us to vote for lesser of two evils, are they admitting their chosen one isn't our first choice? They asking us to vote for second choice, so give us 2 votes. #RCV.
And Tina says, to close it out here, I never voted for Obama, and I love Brownie. There you go, Brownie.
All right.
Okay, thanks. That's it?
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for your donations. Thanks for being a Patreon patron. And again, if you join up, we give you all this bonus material. You don't have to, if you miss the live stream, you get to see it. And we also give you extra comedy sketches. We drop those every week. And, we also are going to be giving you more things as patrons. Earlier access to live show tickets. Steph, also, what else do you do? You answer back their questions
Yeah,
at the
we're trying
Patreon
to,
thing?
we did, also, this week we posted a Labor Day note, and then we were trying to respond to people, and then every so often people say, hey, you're responding to all of us. It's a glitch within Patreon. So even when I did a complete, just replied to somebody, they thought I was replying to somebody else. So we're trying to get to know Patreon's
ins and outs.
It's kind of crazy, but we're doing better, and we really do appreciate you questioning and saying, "Hey, what's going on? Was I supposed to receive this perk or that?" So we're really working on that right now. And at the beginning of every live stream, we're going to shout out your names because that seems to be the time that we can share it with you. Plus, it becomes Patreon content. Anything else, fellas?
No, that's great. That's great. So thank you for supporting the show. Thanks if you want to get a T-shirt or a mug or come see a live show. It's another great way to support the show. That's it. We'll see you October 12th. That's the next live Jimmy Dore show. Ron's going to be, where are you going to be, Ron, in November?
In November, I'm going to be in Sacramento, San Francisco, Austin, Texas, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Wow, that's quite a
at romplicone.com.
That's quite a routing.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you for tuning in. I'm going to watch the Danny Garcia Sean Porter fight tonight. Woohoo, that's exciting. And I hope Keith Thurman's hand heals so he can come back and get his title back. I don't know if you guys follow boxing, but I do. And Keith, one time Thurman has been having hand problems the last 3 years. He's only fought 3 times in 3 years. So they stripped him of his title. Who cares? This isn't what this is about. So, all right, thank you. I'm going to go watch that fight, and we'll see you. Will we be here next Saturday? Yes, right?
Yes, we sure will.
So we'll be here next Saturday. Now, we're going out of town.
Mark your calendars.
We're going to Italy September 21st, and we come back October 10th. So that's 2 days before the live show.
And you've never been really
I've never been really on a vacation to Europe. Anytime I've been to Europe is for work. So when we went to Oslo, we were working, and I got sick the rest of the time. That was horrible. And then when
turns out you had complications on your operation before you went. You didn't even know that.
So it turns out I had So again, long story, but I had a hernia surgery before I went to Oslo, and I went to see my other doctor, my bone doctor, and he's telling me all this stuff that happened during my hernia surgery that the hernia surgery surgeon didn't tell me. He's like, "Oh yeah, it was complicated. They had a lot of problems." I go, "What?" He goes, "They found a tumor." Huh? What the hell? He goes, "He didn't tell you?" I go, "No, he didn't tell me."
I didn't think it was important. Apparently.
So there was a lot of shit. So I've been going through a lot of tests lately because of all this, and I didn't know when we were in Oslo that all that stuff had happened. And anyway, so this is our first vacation, like a real vacation. We did go to Mexico City last year. That was a real vacation. We got
but
the whole
did
time
you
we
get
were
sick?
the whole time we were there, we were sick because we had altitude sickness. Did you know that Mexico City's like 7,000 feet in the air? Did you know that? Yeah. So you got to watch it, and we didn't know. And when we get there, I was drinking booze the first night. I was sick the rest of the time. And you did too, right, Steph? Yep. We're taking Pepto-Bismol the whole time because it was horrible.
Yeah, but we still ate.
But we still ate and had a good time somehow because Mexico City is so nice, especially where we stayed in La Condesa.
Yes.
Oh,
You
God,
got it.
it's the best part of Mexico City. Anyway, so this is our first real vacation coming up. We're going to go for 18 days. That's a long time.
And you know what? That's actually a day for every year.
That we've been together.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Look at that. Isn't that nice? All right, so thanks again for your support. It means more now than ever. And I hope to get some live dates for you. We'll see you on the road. Thanks for your support.